And we are live. How's everybody doing tonight? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and you're watching and/or listening to ABL Live. Thank y'all for joining me tonight. You could be almost anywhere in the world, but you're right here with me live on the show, and I appreciate y'all for that. We got a whole lot going on all over the internets, all over mainstream media, social media, everywhere, and I don't know where to start. First of all, the IRS Whistleblower. This person says that the Hunter Biden investigation is corrupt. How shocked are you? On a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the highest, how shocked are you? I'm about at a negative 475. We'll talk about that story a little bit more a little bit later. Also, we got all kind of crazy incidents happening all over the country. Baltimore is experiencing, of course, a bunch of crime. And one mother went on television and said that she tried to stop some of it. She took her son out of the situation, and she warned the mother of another boy who wound up getting shot and killed at 12 years old. We'll talk about that in a minute. Also, Vivek Ramaswamy, he is a tech guy, if I'm not mistaken. Y'all, if I'm wrong, please correct me in the comments. But he was on CNN with Don Lemon and decided to have a debate about the Civil War and black folks and everything else, which was pretty interesting. We'll talk about that in a minute. Also, speaking about violence and whatnot, you got a bunch of people that are being very irresponsible with their guns. Everyone has the right to bear arms, but you got to be responsible. You can't just be shooting at cheerleaders in the parking lot or little girls in your front yard for playing with the basketball the wrong way. We'll talk about all those things and more on tonight's episode of ABL Live. And thank y'all again for being here. You guys are the best audience anywhere on these internets. If you enjoyed what you were hearing thus far, please give the video a thumbs up, like the video, share the video, do all of that good stuff. That'll help me out tremendously. We got a whole lot going on. We're talking about the things I mentioned a little while ago, and I'm doing quite a few more topics as of late. So we got also the situation with Buzzfeed News finally shutting down after many, many years of fake news, after pushing the Steele dossier. Also, speaking about the Steele dossier, we got to talk about that as well. We got to talk about not only the Steele dossier, but a lot of things that were surrounding the previous, I think, 2 elections. Steele dossier, that was 2016 time, and then also 2020 with the Hunter Biden laptop that we all know was 100% real. They, whoever they may be, said that it wasn't real, but we knew and we know now that it was real. We'll talk about all those things a little bit more a little bit later. Also, there was a video of a guy completely flipping his wig, losing his mind over a crying baby on the airplane. And then a lot more. Oh, the woman in Chicago that was red-pilled, if you could say that, after saving a couple. She was floored to hear why the violence in the city in downtown Chicago was happening. We'll get to all those things a little bit more a little bit later. DCF Press says BuzzFeed gets roadkilled. Hilarious. But before we get to anything, thank you to you guys for being here. You guys are the best audience anywhere on these internets. I could not do the show without you. So thank you yet again for joining me live. This is also a podcast you're listening to right now. So you can hear this audio only starting tomorrow morning for this particular episode. So, for example, right now, Saturday, what's this, April 22nd? Tomorrow will be Sunday, April 23rd. You can hear this audio only on your favorite audio streaming platform at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. So that will be on Spotify, Stitcher, Anchor, Apple, iTunes, etc. Link for that will be in the description box. Or go to your favorite audio streaming platform and search ABL Live. Odds should pop right on up. And what else we got? A lot. Shout out to PatriotPost.us, your best source of news and information. Their link will be in the description. Go ahead and go to them right now. Tell them ABL sent you. Also, go to my regular website, AnthonyBLogan.com. That is ANTHONY, the letter B, LOGAN.com. If you go to the front page of the website, there's quite a few articles, and each article is relating to a video that I produced. So whenever you have a question about where I got a particular piece of information from, where did I get a source for a video, just go to the website and all your questions most likely shall be answered. Again, anthonyblogan.com. Also, go to the contact page, anthonyblogan.com/contact. There you can find my email address, my snail mail address, my social media accounts, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. All that good stuff is right there on the contact page. Please don't spam my email. You will get blocked. Y'all know what spamming means. When you send me 100 emails per day, I'm not going to read them. I'm going to block you. Okay, so please don't do that. Don't get me in chain emails. Just be kind and respectful. Also, if you're going to send me something in my P.O. box, hey, I appreciate you guys, but send me something good. Don't send me some paper with what could have been an email. Like, I legitimately see, and I'm not trying to attack anybody, but I legitimately see envelopes mailed to me, and inside there's a literal printed email. It's like, just send me that in the email. Anything beyond what can be sent in the email, y'all can feel free to send me at my P.O. box on the website, anthonyblogan.com/contacts. All right, so that's that. Now, we got a lot to get through. There is quite a bit, and I have no idea where to begin. Let's start with the crying baby, shall we? Because this one, I think, was interesting. I think you guys would pretty much be on the page, on the same page as me. You would defend the baby. Now, here's a scenario that could happen, and it's similar to what did happen on that particular flight that has gone viral now. So let's say you're in the airplane, right? And you're in a holding pattern, or you're taxiing, or whatever it is. You're kind of delayed getting to where you want to go. It's just taking a little bit longer, or whatever the case may be. You might not be delayed. You might just be hanging out, chilling, whatever it is. Taking off, landing, flying, might be a long flight, might be going from LA to New York, whatever. Now, let's say that there is a baby crying for a long time, like an hour. What are you going to do? You see, it's one thing to think one way. It's another thing to do something. You may not like the crying baby. You may wish the mom could get the baby to tighten up and not be crying so much. But hey, I don't know. You guys have been, you guys at one point were babies. You guys may have had parents, guardians, somebody watching you. And if you ask them, and they're still around, still kicking, if you ask them what you were putting them through as a baby, you would get a very interesting response, to say the least. Parents going to be up all night, all kind of stuff, right? When the baby is a baby, because they can't really communicate. If a baby's on the airplane crying, what can you really do as a bystander? You're going to go up to the baby and say, hey man, look, check it out. We got a long flight. I'm gonna need you to go ahead and stop crying. The baby does not understand your words, sir. The baby does not understand that you have to be quiet. The baby doesn't really understand that he's on the airplane and you can't just be doing whatever you want to do. All the baby knows is, hey, change my diaper right now. Give me something to eat, or you gotta, it's something wrong and you gotta be able to diagnose the problem. Maybe I have an ear infection. Maybe we're up high on this plane for the very first time and my ears done popped. I don't know what that is. So check it out. I'm crying to just alert you that you need to come to the rescue. It's like having the check engine light on your car. And it might not be the engine. It might be something else. The check engine light might come on, but it might just be low tire pressure. You don't know what's going on. You got to go examine, and you might not be able to find it. You might not be able to find it. That's how babies are. So, but what are you going to do in that situation with a crying baby on the airplane or anywhere really? Definitely an airplane. But see, when we're talking about like a restaurant or a movie theater, that's something different. Now, if you are watching a movie and the baby is crying, okay, y'all got to go. You can leave out the theater. You're not 30,000 feet in the sky. You know, you can't just open the door to the airplane and walk out while you are right over the Pacific Ocean or the Atlantic Ocean, Gulf of Mexico, whatever it is. You can't just be like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and just leave now. That's not how that works at all. You're up in the sky, so you pretty much stuck with what you're stuck with. You got to just grin and bear it. But a movie theater, check it out. If your baby is acting the fool in the theater, go ahead and roll out. Same thing. if you are in a restaurant, go ahead and roll out. Okay. This is Ruth's Chris. This is some other spot. I don't care if it's J. Alexander's, McDonald's, Ruth's Chris, low range, mid range, high range, whatever you want to call it. I don't care if the chef comes out wearing a 3-piece suit or a pair of jeans and some Timberland boots. Whatever it is, be respectful of your situation if you can. If you can leave the restaurant, do whatever you got to do, change, maybe come back. Okay, cool. But an airplane, what are you to do? Now, check it out. So here is the video. This has gone viral. This is not the full video. This is like a summary of the video from a news clip. And of course, I said this will be on my website, anthonyblogan.com. I want you guys to let me know how you feel about this guy's behavior. Would you be doing the same thing that he did, or do you think he was over the top? You may not like the incessantly crying baby, but would you do this, what he did? Let's check it out.
So is the baby. Okay, so you're a man.
This morning.
So is the baby.
So the flight attendant is saying, hey, you're yelling. And then the guy's like, so's the baby. The baby's yelling too. So basically the guy is putting himself on the same level as a baby. I'm talking about like a goo goo gaga, can't talk or nothing. Got the binky still going on. The baby doesn't really understand what's happening. All he hears is just a bunch of commotion from this dude.
Okay, so you're a man.
This morning, it's a midair meltdown of epic proportions aboard one Southwest flight, not just from the baby on board, but also from an adult passenger.
Lower that baby's voice.
This passenger seen
Lower the baby's voice. They're telling him, hey man, lower your voice, you're screaming. He says, lower the baby's voice.
losing his cool after a
Why's it got to be a black guy, man? Why's it got to be us, man? That's just embarrassing. Is that a passenger like who's just sitting next to him? Probably so. I don't think that she knows that guy, but she could. You know, they got a similar pair of glasses on. That might be his wife. Who knows?
A baby was crying for an extended period of time. Flight attendants pleading with him to stop yelling.
No, that's not. No.
All of a sudden,
The flight attendant said the right thing. Let's be rational for a second. We can't do anything about this child. What do you want us to do? Like, what are we going to do as a flight attendant? Go to the baby and say, hey, baby, check it out. Your man over there with the white a sweater, the white corduroy situation going on, the cream colored sweater. He's saying that you're crying too much, and we're just trying to relay the message. If you could, just keep the crying down to a minimum. Oh, what's that? More crying? Okay, cool. I didn't think you'd be able to understand what I was saying. So maybe the louder crying means that you can't understand me, and you want to not do this right now. You don't want to have me in your face right now. Okay, cool. I'm going to just go about my business.
and this guy just started screaming on the top of his lungs. It was definitely a good 5 minutes or so. And it was just getting worse and worse and worse.
You want me to scream? You want me to scream? Scream. Please stop the baby.
The Fort Lauderdale-bound flight landing in Orlando and all the passengers forced to deplane.
So the plane had to land in Orlando rather than going to Fort Lauderdale. That's like, you know, Orlando's like in the middle of the state, I suppose. Disney World, Disneyland or whatever. Fort Lauderdale, that's like Miami. So they stopped the flight short to get him off, basically. And when he refused to get off, everybody had to get off. My thing is, what's the point in refusing to get off the plane? He's off the plane anyway, so what's the point? All you did was just ruin everybody's day. I'll tell you what, though.
As for that,
I'll tell you what. Here's what I would say. You know what? That might be his wife because of the way that she's kind of like. I think they're like holding hands right here in this picture.
adult passengers
Or they talking to each other. That's probably his wife. They look kind of similar as well. You know, I think after a while you start staying with somebody else, start to look the same. I don't want to compare it to, you know, how you see certain pets and their owners. I don't want to compare it to that, but that's the thing that came to my mind at first. Similar, they probably weigh the same glasses. They probably a couple, or maybe I'm just being judgmental. Who knows?
passenger,
But what's the point in doing all this to get kicked off the plane? Like you could just get off the plane, but everybody has to deplane and you still get kicked off. But here's my question I wanted to ask you guys. Would you rather, if you have two choices, I won't do a poll for this, it's just not really, but two choices. Would you A, want to stay on the plane and just finish the flight? It's only about an hour left. Orlando to Fort Lauderdale is not that far on the plane. An hour at best. From Atlanta to Miami is about, what, hour and a half, maybe 2 hours at most. It's not that far. You're about to be done with the flight. It's almost over with. Would you rather stay on the plane with the crying baby and reach your destination, or would you rather just deplane in Orlando and catch another flight at some time? Who knows when? It might be that night. It might be tomorrow. You might need to go get a hotel, stay in the terminal or the airport. Which would you rather do? Finish the flight or get off because of the crying baby? Okay.
He was met by security at the gate. Southwest releasing a statement saying, "We commend our crew for exhibiting outstanding professionalism while handling a challenging situation, and we appreciate the patience of our other customers on board who had to experience the behavior."
Now, let me pause right here. There was one piece it didn't really show in that video. There's a bunch of these clips and whatnot. There's a bunch of clips, and I want to find the one where they're talking about the race element. This might be it right here. Let's see if this is it. This might be the full clip, actually. Let's check it out. Yeah, because he was talking about, well, if it was a black baby, it'd be different. It's like, really? So you guys saying the same thing. Finish the flight. Normies, just finish the flight. It ain't that deep, you know. SR 1034 says, if I was hungover and nauseous, I might get off. Wow, really? You get off the whole plane because of a crying baby? Hey, man. Rick says I can see both sides of the debate. I mean, hey, people were saying, you know, in the comments of the original video, you had some guys and girls that defended the guy that was on there acting the fool, and some didn't. All right, hold on. Now let's check it out.
I was asleep the whole time. You haven't served me anything. I
try to keep my calm, but if I wasn't on this plane, I
because there's a child crying on the flight non-stop. That's what's
Who's
next.
worse, a baby or a grown-ass man acting like this?
Can you lower that voice?
That could be rational.
No, let's not. No. Let's be rational. Hold on. You want to be rational? No. Don't tell me what the I need to do.
You know what? At a certain point, I think we need to raise the price of airline tickets because you see some weird stuff. Like, remember at one point during the scamdemic or like right after, I forget when this was, but at a certain point during the pandemic or right after, you had really, really cheap flights. And all that did was just create fight clubs in the airport, which is the dumbest thing to do ever. You're going to fight right in front of TSA. I mean, you might as well just say, hey, man, I'm trying to go to the federal penitentiary right now. Right now. And even worse, if you fight overseas, if you're trying to go, if you're trying to do like spring break action and you're going to be fighting in the terminal in Mexico, man, forget about it. Forget about it. You might as well get chopped up by the cartel at that point. Yeah. It's crazy, but they're not showing it right there. But the guy was trying to talk about race and everything else. It's crazy. But I'm seeing fewer fights and I'm seeing more just people just getting irritated. But that fight club era at the airport was ridiculous. And they've cracked down on that recently. I saw a fight in Hartsfield-Jackson, Atlanta airport, and they got stopped as soon as it got started. The officer just materialized out of thin air. He just happened to, it was like, okay, I saw the fight start right in the TSA line, right before you get to, you know how TSA is, especially in Atlanta. It's like a bunch of little zigzag pattern of lines before you get to the front. They were right at the front, get ready to give their ID and the if you got to give up your ticket or whatever to the flight scan your pass, whatever it is. They were getting ready to do that. Then they want to start fighting. It was an officer that just popped up out of nowhere right there, tased him. Drop like sack of potatoes, bad habit, all that. Matter of fact, hold on. Yeah, here we go. Here we go. This might be it. If I can find it. I'm going to find that because that's how I am sometimes. I just want to see exactly what's going on. Hold on, let me see. TSA. Yeah, it might be TSA. Extra ill says if the trip is more than 500 miles, I guess it won't be going. Hey, I mean, I understand. I get it. But personally, I'm going to go ahead and go, man, because really, I'm already ready for stuff like that. I'm already ready. Because I know that it's going to be noise on the plane, people having discussion. And I don't have any time for that. I just want to put on my noise canceling headphones and go to my destination.
Watch your fucking mouth.
Hold on. Yeah, I do have it. Wait a minute. I do have it. It's a little bit of cussing. Don't blame me, blame the white man. Hold on.
Watch your fucking mouth, nigga. Watch your fucking mouth, nigga. Oh yeah. Take one out.
Look, you see, you hear it already. As soon as the fist starts swinging, and you could tell, you see like this right here, this little partition, you're right at the front of the line. It's like, sir, what are you fighting for? You about to go to your destination. You about to go on vacation or whatever it is. You about to go to your destination. So why even do any of this? As soon as it starts swinging, you hear the taser go off. Hear a little brrr, brrr, it's immediately. See, look, my man's right there on it. On it. You're going to have this happen to you if you try to fight in the airport. You know, now luckily they don't want to use deadly force. That'd be kind of ridiculous in a place like this to use deadly force. So many other people around. Okay, you get tased right quick, arrested, and escorted out. You're not going to Cancun, Miami, Jamaica, wherever you wanted to go. Wherever you thought about going, you're not going anymore because you want to act a fool in the line.
My fucking God.
So, but you know what? You know what? One clue that the ticket pricing and maybe criteria to get on a plane might be a little bit lax. If you're wearing a wife beater, like in public, first of all, a public wife beater in the building. I mean, do you smoke crack for a living? Like I was saying last time with Pete Buttigieg drinking the 40 ounces or whatever that liquor was through a brown bag. It's like, okay, what are we doing? You're outside of the park drinking liquor out of a brown bag. Do you also smoke crack? You might as well just do all that at the same time too. But this right here, if I see a guy wearing a wife beater on the airplane, I'm ready to fight. I don't want to fight him, but I'm on guard. I know if I get a weird look or something like that, it might be on and cracking. And the funny part about this video, the officer went to the guy and told him to shut up. And people in the comments were like, oh, we shouldn't have told him to shut up. It's like, really? Is that what we got from the video? Not that these guys were fighting in TSA in Hartsfield-Jackson, right in front of the agents, right in front of the police officers. That wasn't it. You mad about him being told to shut up? Crazy. But yeah, shout out to all the law enforcement out there doing your job, making sure that our skies are safe and that the ground is safe too, because anybody got no time for that. I think that's more important than a crying baby acting up on the airplane. It might be a little annoying. Hey man, get you some noise canceling headphones. Matter of fact, if you go to one of the bigger airports, Hartsfield-Jackson or whatever, they have the stores you can go to. Now, it might cost you an arm and a leg. I suggest you don't buy headphones in the airport terminal, but you can buy headphones that are noise canceling. You won't hear a thing other than your movie. You fly Delta, plug it on in, and you get to go. You are good to go. Don't even worry about it. All right. Now, if you're on Frontier, I mean, you might need to bring an iPad or something like that, but I digress. If you like what you're hearing so far, please give the video a thumbs up, like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. Now, we got quite a few stories on deck, and I'm not really sure where to go next. I think we could talk about the Chicago mother who was pretty much red-pilled because of a thing that happened while she was out there in the streets, trying to save a couple from maybe even being killed. So here's the story. We've seen the rampaging youths in Chicago acting the fool downtown. And a lot of people, they vote Democrat thinking that the crime that exists in the more not isolated areas, but more contained areas that are kind of off the beaten path, they think that crime won't affect them. It won't come to their front doorstep. Well, obviously, that's not true. That's not correct. Let me see if I can just find some general footage of what's been happening. The Walmart ransacking and then also the downtown ransacking. Here's a video in question that we're going to talk about. Matter of fact, hold on. Let's show the Walmart ransacking first. Like, what's the point of ransacking the Walmart? I don't really get it. Why do this? I've never in my life seen this before. Never in my life have I seen them ransack a Walmart. It's like, and then here's the question. Will anybody be charged with this kind of crime? I remember at a certain point, you couldn't do things like this without actually having some kind of penalty. Like maybe a severe penalty right there on the spot. You might get fired on for doing something like this. And I mean with a weapon, not just punched in the face by an officer or a bystander, but you might get guns drawn on you for doing stuff like this. And then if it continues to happen, you see what's going to happen. Hold on. I'm going to play this video, and then we'll get to more videos. Let's play this one first. Hold on 1 second. Let's not have the sound be too loud. Look at this. It's like a neighborhood Walmart, I suppose, like a smaller Walmart, not the really big one. And you know what? You know what the crazy part is? Walmarts like this typically give jobs to those who are in the community. But see, there's a Walmart where I live, a neighborhood Walmart where there's no cashiers. You have employees in there working, but there's no cashiers. There's nobody ringing up your groceries. There's nobody at the, like, all they going to do at the front is have one person that you could call on in case something goes wrong with your machine. One person. And then it's a greeter at the front to make sure you don't steal blatantly. Okay. You can't be checking out no flat screen TV as two rutabagas or something. You understand? And then there's another person over there by like a return center or the money center. It's a very slimmed down version of what Walmarts were. Even the old school Walmarts with one cashier, that is no cashiers. So not only will this Walmart cease to exist, they're already going to start to shut down some of the jobs. So you're making the bad situation worse. So it's like, I have to, like, what's the point in doing that? I don't really get it. Now, here, I think it's some more Chicago riots. Let me make sure. Okay, that's old. See, I had to just double check to make sure that was recent. That's an old video. This one right here that I've not played yet. But the Walmart one, that's recent. And then this one right here is recent as well. This is on the news recently, and I'm going to talk about this in a minute. I'm going to turn the sound off right quick. It's probably going to be a little cursing. Well, I'll keep it on. So you got a bunch of these hood rats from the bad areas of Chicago coming downtown acting the fool. Okay. If I go to Chicago and I'm seeing these young 16-year-olds, dread-headed, looking kind of crazy in the face, if I got a gun, I'm going to make sure that I got one in the head, ready to roll, because I know that it might go like this. I already know it. They're beating up a couple, an interracial couple. Why are they doing that? Well, first of all, maybe because the woman was white and the guy was black. So interracial, that's a bad thing, I suppose. And then also they were robbing them. They stole their shoes, their phones, and their wallet. So they beat them up, hate crime, robbed them, all of that. They did all that right here. Now, there may have been between 60 and 100 so-called youths out there doing that in Chicago. Downtown, right in a nice area, okay? I'll show you guys a video of a couple who gave their testimony about what happened. They were out there having a night on the town. They were tourists. They were not from the area, if I'm not mistaken. And they come out from their dinner or their shopping in a nice little restaurant, nice little establishment, and they come right out to the hood right there. You see, and the people that live downtown or live close to downtown or frequent downtown who are Chicago area residents, they think that the crime that happened down there will only stay in the bad areas, but that's not how it works. When you enable this kind of stuff, it's going to spread. When you say it's okay and it's not really a big deal, when you behave like Brandon Johnson and say, hey, well, we got to protect them too. I got to play that video for you guys before I get to the couple's reaction. So here is Chicago's brand new mayor. What's his name? Brandon Johnson. Remember, there was a little bit of celebration, a little bit of glee that Lori Lightfoot would no longer be the mayor. But then it was between two Democrats to be the next mayor. This guy, Brandon Johnson, and another guy, I forget his name, but he was more kind of like Law and Order. I'm not really sure how much you can be of a Law and Order guy while still being a Democrat in Chicago, which is not MAGA country. But anyway, I digress. So listen to what Brandon Johnson says about what you just saw. Okay, these are the youths. These are the young people. These are the people that we got to protect, according to Brandon Johnson.
Demonizing children is wrong. We have to keep them safe as well.
One more time.
Demonizing children is wrong. We have to keep them safe as well.
So here's recent video. This is on Chicago's local news. This is for 3 days ago. So this is recent. This is not old footage. This is happening as of like right now, pretty much. So here's footage.
That is Mayor-elect Brandon Johnson.
Look at all this. Look at all that. Like, how can you say they got to be protected? You have flash mobs of people brutalizing innocent people. For what reason? To steal.
And saying the teenagers who rampaged through downtown last weekend deserve sympathy as much as punishment. He fielded questions after speaking to lawmakers earlier.
Our political editor, Mike Flannery, joins us with more. Mike?
So there's more to that. But yeah, that's your man, Brandon Johnson, saying, hey, man, we got to protect the criminals. We got to protect these so-called kids out here acting the fool. Now,
it was just...
Here is the couple that were beaten up. Okay, that's him. That's the boyfriend or whatever on the left, and that's the girl on the right. They were both beaten by the mob. He got the worst of the beating. His eye is still kind of blacked up a little bit. She got beat as well. They both were beaten and robbed.
Absolutely random. We didn't know anybody. We were just trying to walk through a group of people.
Caught up in a mob, 2 out-of-towners sharing their story after being beaten by teens downtown on Saturday.
People say, hey, ABL, come to Chicago, ABL. It's like, is that what I want to do? I'm not sure, man. Like, I'm trying to go have a nice night on the town. Like I said before, when I travel, I like to go places and stay in the city center and walk around. If I can't stay in the city center and walk around that night, I shouldn't be there. LA, what am I going to do? Okay, I got to be like in the airport, someone will basically be some kind of way safe. I try to go downtown, forget about it. Crackhead Central. Roaches, rats, whatever you want, Central. I'm cool on that. Chicago, do I want to go downtown? It might be beautiful down there one day I go, but it might not be. Depends on the weather, I suppose.
Key part of the story, the Good Samaritan who stepped in to help.
Anthony Pause is live with more tonight. Anthony?
Yes, Corey and Dawn, this the attack happened here on the 100 block of North Wabash Avenue Saturday night. It could have ended way worse had it not been for the intervention of a truly good Samaritan who says that the video of this attack that went viral over the weekend really only captures the tail end of what she describes as an absolutely brutal attack. The victims here, a couple visiting from out of town. They're in their early 20s, staying in an Airbnb. They were out to dinner, just trying to enjoy their night.
We were just downtown in Chicago trying to shop, trying to get some food. And we were walking down the street, and there was a really big group of guys, a really big group of people.
And girls.
Yeah, guys and girls. And
guys and girls. So you got girls out there acting the fool too, not just these young boys out here, dread-headed, hood rats. Not just, it's the girls too. And the girls sometimes are more vicious than the guys because they feel like they got more to prove. They got more to prove. You got all these bull daggers out there. Okay, it's like they're kind of like on the same spectrum as the trans a little bit, but just rough, which is a different story.
DJ had my hand, and he was trying to lead me through the crowd of people, and they pushed him, they pushed me, and as soon as they pushed me, I told DJ, I said, hey, they just shoved me.
The mob attack happened right near Macy's Wabash Street entrance.
And it was a mob of about 60 to 100 people.
They said they're going to.
So there was a good Samaritan right there. That's her. God bless her.
60 to 100 people.
They said they're going to kill us. They turned around and, started fighting,
They were shoeless. They didn't have they were looking for their phones, but it was no point because the phones had been taken away.
Both the victims and Lenora Dennis, the woman who came to their aid, say that several Chicago police officers passed by but did not intervene.
Let's pause right there. Now, you guys said it right there in the chat. If you had been, if they had been armed, if they had been carrying, this wouldn't have been going on. Anybody trying to get shot, I don't care if it's 100 of these kids, anybody trying to get shot for what? You trying to risk your life? Like, you see the gun, you guys, they may or may not have guns. You don't want to risk your life over a cell phone. But then again, how many of these young hooligans are going to be armed? Probably all of them, or at least half of them. So I don't know. Ultimately, it's difficult to do much when where you're outnumbered like this. And the police, let's talk about them in a minute.
Cops drove right by it, act like they didn't see anything.
I literally went out into the street and stopped and held my hands up to a police car and asked them to stop and motioned them over to what was going on, and they just cut a path around me and just kept going.
She was eventually able to get the couple into her car, then she drove them to the police station.
Got told by the desk sergeant that this was going to happen. It was going to keep happening because Brandon Johnson got elected.
Okay, let's run that back. You may have kind of like glossed over it, didn't really pay attention. Let's run that back one more time, shall we?
Got told by the desk sergeant that this was going to happen. It was going to keep happening because Brandon Johnson got elected.
So when she goes down to the police station trying to do something about this, file a report or whatever, the desk sergeant tells her this happened and it's going to keep happening because Brandon Johnson got elected. Now, some are going to say, well, he hasn't been inaugurated, he's not in power yet. It doesn't matter. The point is that the police understand what's coming. They already heard this guy say we can't villainize these kids. They already heard it. So they know what they got to do coming up. They know what Lori Lightfoot was about, and they know what Brandon Johnson's going to be about. It's a continuation of the same thing. They don't have any power to do anything else. You see, if the other guy got elected and the new guy was going to be more pro-police, then Lori Lightfoot would be what you call a lame duck. They could potentially do more and have more ability to control the streets, even though he has not been formally sworn in, because they know that he will have their back. Okay, you try to get these guys locked up or whatever, the new mayor would have potentially had their back, but Brandon Johnson will not have their back. Brandon Johnson has the back of those who are out there committing the crimes. So they don't really have much of a choice. Their hands are tied.
That floored me.
An ambulance then took them to the hospital, but the couple was without their phones, wallets, and shoes, which had all been stolen during the attack.
I told the couple that I was going to go home to find them some shoes so that they wouldn't be barefoot for the rest of the night.
Her name is Lenore.
Wow. She gave us shoes, took us home, took us to the hospital.
Her husband as well.
Thank you.
Just do unto others. And that's a mantra that I live by every day, is just do unto others as you would have them do unto you.
So, yeah, I'm not going to Chicago for any kind of tourist activities. I'm cool on that. If I was to be there in the city, I'm going to make sure that I got my head on the swivel. If I can drive up there and bring my imaginary gun, then I'm going to do that. I don't know, man. Like, really, for real, one part of gun safety or just general safety is not going into a dangerous environment if you don't have to. It's like, why would I go to a place I know is going to be actively dangerous? For what reason? What's the purpose of me going there? Why would I do it? Like, how is that going to benefit me? What's the purpose? If I know that I go to this place and there's going to be 1,000 of these dreadhead 15-year-olds who don't care about life, brainless, can't read, do anything, they don't care about killing me over an iPhone charger, why would I go to that kind of environment? Armed or not armed? I mean, I'm not Terminator or Rambo. I'm not RoboCop. How can I defeat this plague of violence coming against me by myself? You know, that's like trying to fight an army with one. Okay, you see the picture of Tiananmen Square with the guy in front of the tank. Well, they were massacred out there by those same tanks. The guy did not stop the tanks. It was an iconic picture. You could look cool in the picture and you dead 10 minutes later. So what's the purpose? But I digress. I'm getting too dark. And if you like what you're hearing so far, please give the video a thumbs up. Like the video, share the video, do all of that good stuff. So yeah. Chicago, from what I hear, is a beautiful city. Like the downtown area is beautiful, but it's just the threat of danger in these big cities is just too much to bear. LA is the absolute worst. I hate LA real bad. Like I would go to Los Angeles only if I had to go, only if I went to like the hills, like the nice parts, you know, somebody's multi-million-dollar estate. But beyond that, I'm not trying to traipse in the mud with the normies on the ground level, smoking crack and dodging bullets. I'm not trying to pay $500,000 to live in the ghetto with bars in my window. I mean, what kind of environment, what kind of lifestyle is that? You got to live with bars in your window? Am I a pet gerbil or something? I think not. Give me my freedom. I don't want to be in the penitentiary. I don't want to pay money to be locked behind bars when I'm at the crib. That's not what we're going to do. But anyway, I digress. There's quite a bit here, but yeah, Chicago, Brandon Johnson got elected. What's going to be the change? Lori Lightfoot's not there anymore, but it doesn't really matter since you got the same people that are going to be running the show, the same situation, the same story. It's a mess. Now, LA, Chicago, like Atlanta's actually okay. You know, I go to Atlanta all the time. Atlanta's not that bad. It's certain parts of Atlanta where it gets rough. Like Atlanta, the issue with Atlanta, it does have crime, a lot of crime, but it's like a lot of property. It's like you get your windows busted and stuff stolen. That's the main thing happening right now in Atlanta. The crime is like more in the urban areas, like the violent crime. But you're talking about like a downtown. I've only seen downtown Atlanta recently get hit one time, and that was by some Antifa guys, but not by like the general hoodlums of the city. That's not really what they do. They're more into credit card scams or just stealing things from cars. I showed that video of the guy in Atlanta that checked the cop with his shoulder. He had a window punch in his back pocket. That's their crime of choice, is when you are in the restaurant in Buckhead thinking that everything is cool, these guys are going to bust into your back window. It's a different kind of crime, but it's crime nonetheless. Anyway, I digress. Let me see. The writer says, as of 2023, Tennessee is ranked third in crime, and Tennessee averages 14 murders to 8.8 per 100 people in California. Most people in Cali are against Newsom. So am I reading this right? So Tennessee averaged 14 murders per 100 compared to 8.8 per 100 in California. I mean, these stats, it's hard to compare Tennessee to California. like let's look at the population of Tennessee, shall we? We have about 6.9 million people in Tennessee compared to how many in California? What, 39 million people? So a little bit of quick math right here. You're talking about what? Maybe five times the population, 6 times the population, probably about 6 times the population. And then the cities are a lot bigger. LA County by itself is bigger than Tennessee. Hold on. What's the LA County population? LA County by itself is more populous than the entire Tennessee. So if you want to compare LA County to Tennessee, that's probably more accurate in my opinion, but even still, that's not really accurate because you're talking about a condensed area. So it's hard to compare. It's like comparing apples to oranges. All that I know is that there's a influx of Californians right here in Tennessee. As I said before, I spoke to a guy that does car service, like high-end stuff, limos, whatever you want to do. And he says every week he's going to the airport and it's loads of Californians coming here. And Davidson County, Nashville, that's where they're going. They got whole shows on TV talking about people that have left California and went to Nashville. On HGTV, it's the lady that was doing the home flipping with the other guy. What was it, Tarek Al-Musad's ex-wife? She was in California and now is in Tennessee. Daily Wire, California, Tennessee. The list goes on. They're all coming to Davidson County, Nashville, cheaper prices. Like, I tell you this, if you want to live in the city, like I was just in Nashville recently. I go there a lot. Nashville is no crime, really. You could park in a parking garage in Nashville and leave your car unlocked. It's not even a big, like, Nashville is peaceful. Certain little areas, I guess you could say like little hood areas, little rundown areas, but for the most part, downtown, Grand Ole Opry, all of that, you're safe. I would much rather be in Nashville, Chattanooga, Knoxville, even Memphis than San Fran right now or LA. Even Memphis. Because Memphis is bad, don't get it twisted, but there's parts that are not that bad. You could be in South Haven, Mississippi, which is right there on the line, West Arkansas, or certain little pockets of Memphis is not that bad. But I'd rather be in Memphis, Tennessee than San Fran or LA right now. But then again, you could be in some podunk, small town in California and be totally fine. But then you get the really high prices. You get the high property taxes. You got the high income tax. You got tax, gas, everything. There's all kind of stuff going on. And don't get me started on the LGBTQ elemental P phenomenon, which is taking over your school system, private, public, college, all of that in California. To compare California to Tennessee is kind of foolish. So, yeah. Lone Star says, in Texas, we have Austin. That's right. Exactly. Yeah. Hip Hop Thinker says, you remove North Nashville and slide Memphis into Arkansas. Yeah, I mean, yeah, North Nashville. Nashville really is safe, though. It's really safe. You don't got nothing to worry about. You down there at the Grand Ole Opry, you by Vanderbilt, all of that. You're straight. Don't even worry about it. Speaking about Vanderbilt, you know what? Something that came to my mind. It's a lot of money in Nashville, a lot of country music, and you got Vanderbilt right there. It's a whole lot happening. Let me see. Byron S says, I live in South Central Los Angeles, thinking about moving to Ukraine. Not Ukraine. Hey, it's probably better. Hey, speaking about Ukraine, and I'm kind of like jumping a lot right here, but I was on the road today in Tennessee, right? I was on the road today, and I saw this little gem right here. Can you guys see this? I was taking this picture while I was driving. I was trying to be safe as possible. But here's a truck, like a 18-wheeler, right? This truck has I stand with Ukraine on the back. And then right next to it, it says Patriot Transport with red, white, and blue. You can't make it up. I'm not trying to out the company. I'm just saying this is a picture I saw. A reefer truck at that. So you got a reefer truck. These guys, I suppose, know what they're doing to drive a truck like this. I don't know the whole industry. Patriot Transport, I stand with Ukraine. Patriot of what? A Patriot of Ukraine? And then there's like a Ukraine QR code right here. So you got a QR code on the back. You want me to take a picture of your truck because I got to have my phone out and scan the code while I'm driving. So, hey, man, you asked for this. But this is crazy, man. So, yeah, shout out to you guys, man. Hey, if you want to go from South Central to Ukraine, then you might catch a ride with this guy right here. But like, hey, man, drive me to the nearest airport. Drive me to the nearest free Ukraine flight, and I'm on the first thing smoking. All righty. Yeah, so shout out to him. I was surprised. I was shocked. I thought truckers were not like that, but I guess I can't judge, man, because everybody does everything nowadays, so I'm not here to judge nobody. Just like the whole thing with the vax. People I thought would not get the vax wind up getting it, and it wasn't even because they had pressure from their job or anything. They just wanted to get it. Oh, I feel safe now. All right. You feel safe, and then you're going to grow an extra toe in 5 years, but it's not my business. Anyway, I digress. If you like what you're hearing so far, please give the video a thumbs up. Like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. Now, I said I was speaking about Tennessee and Nashville and whatnot. Now, I wanted the person that said that, I wonder if they have responded to what I was saying. Okay, so the writer says 2023 murder rate, Memphis 27.1 and Atlanta 16.7, LA not in top 20. People move out of California just lack of income, brokies. Again, you're comparing Los Angeles, the cities, it's kind of hard to compare. Like I said, LA County has more people than the entire Tennessee, and it's not even close. LA County has almost 10 million people compared to Tennessee's 7 million people. It's not even really a comparison, okay? But people are escaping LA a lot for the crime, okay? Where did the whole Bloods and Crips thing come from? Bloods and Crips and gang culture in general started in Los Angeles and spread to the whole country. Little Rock, Arkansas, which is right, okay, Memphis is right next door. You got Tennessee and then Arkansas. Come inside, say a little bit, you got Little Rock right there. It's not far from Memphis. Okay, so Little Rock became awash in gang violence because of guys from LA that came out there and spread gang culture to them. Before that, there was no gang culture in Little Rock. Same thing with Memphis. Okay, you got guys like, what's that, the rapper Black Boy JB, talk about, I'm throwing up Crip. Where did the Crips come from? LA. Crips, Bloods, all of that is LA gang culture. So why would you say that they're moving just because of money? It ain't that. It ain't just that. It's because you got a lot of crime out there too. Okay. One thing I've not seen in Tennessee at all is people getting followed to their homes in nice areas and getting robbed out there in the street. I've not seen people just get assaulted in the middle of downtown like Kim Glass did. She's having dinner or brunch out there. Brunch, it's daytime. She's having brunch out there in LA, and then some guy just throws a boat at her, almost knocks her eye out. Ain't no Skid Row going on in Tennessee anywhere. That's not happening. Okay, if you don't have people on the streets just doo-doo on the ground, California's a mess, and everybody knows it. That's why they leaving. The income thing is just one part of it. It's just one part of it. The main problem is the crime, violence, income, taxes, everything wrapped up in one. Everything. Okay? If you could live in a nice area in California, you would stay there. But if you're living in the city center like San Fran, where the guy, the tech bro just got murdered in the middle of the street, okay, Paul Pelosi, I don't know what was going on with that. You don't hear these stories in Tennessee. I watch the news out here locally. They say Chattanooga's a bad place. No, it's not. Like, they say things that aren't really true. Like, I was told before I came here that, oh, man, Chattanooga's a bad place. They call it Shootanooga. It's really bad. I'm living here. I watch local news. They're talking about a cat getting stuck in the tree. I'm like, really? And then I'm out here. I talk to people. I know the sheriff out here. I know people that are involved in the community out here. This is a sleepy town. It's a sleepy town. It might be a shooting occasionally downtown or gunshots heard where nobody gets shot. This ain't no place like that, man. I mean, be for real. So I'll continue. I'm getting triggered. So shout out to Michael Critchlow, who says, today is my birthday. ABL, can I get a shout out? Well, happy birthday to you, man. Enjoy your day. Happy birthday to you. My fellow Virginia brother, I appreciate you for being here on your birthday, man. That's a gift to me. Thank you for joining. And again, happy birthday. All right. So again, that's Michael Critchlow with the super chat. Shout out to you, boss. Shoot-a-nooga back up. That's what they call it. Chattanooga, shoot-a-nooga. It's not even like that, man. I promise. Out here, you could leave your door open. It's all good. Miss Adams says, wasn't there a mass shooting recently in Memphis? I'm not sure. I mean, a mass shooting happens everywhere. I mean, there was a school shooting in Nashville, but Memphis, I mean, there probably was. I don't know. I mean, you got those in LA, San Fran, everywhere. There's no place in America that's immune to, from a school shooting. Sandy Hook, what was that in New Jersey? I mean, it's everywhere. You can't really avoid it. Yeah, shout out to Dunlap, way up there, out in the country. Good place to be. Absolutely. Raised country. But yeah, people are moving to Tennessee in droves, and they're going straight in Nashville from California. There's not a bunch of Nashvillians going to California. And Nashville, Davidson County, is a very rich county. One of the most wealthy counties in the whole country, Davidson County, right there in Tennessee. So it's not about money that people are just, going to California or leaving California. Nah, it's more than that, because people will leave California and then go right to Franklin, Tennessee and pay the same thing they paid for a house in California. For real. Like, go on Zillow, look at Franklin's prices. Hold on. Franklin and Brentwood, all of that. Psst. Hold on. What's the median home price in Franklin? Hold on. Let me see if I can find that right quick. So the median home price in Franklin is $935,000 in March 2023. $935,000. I live in a 2,800 square foot house that was less than $400,000, and I got it in 2020. And I'm in Tennessee. Less than 400 to almost 3,000 square foot. The median home price in Franklin is almost $1 million. So it is what it is. All right. Let's keep on rocking and rolling here. We got quite a few topics on deck for today. Matter of fact, what's the median home price in Brentwood? 1.4. 1.4. I mean, come on, that ain't nothing but California. That's you can get one of them Black Lives Matter mansions that Patrice Cullors had. It's the same house out there. That's the median, not even what the upper end is, nor is it the average. If it was the average, it'd be a lot higher. I've seen houses out there for like 22 million, 25 million. Yeah, big money. You got all these country stars out there, Miley Cyrus, all these people. Yeah, Dolly, I don't think she might live in Nashville. I think Dolly live in Nashville, or she might live in Sevierville or Knoxville somewhere. I don't know. Anyway, let's keep on rocking here. What else we got going on? We got a lot of topics that I've covered so far this week. Hold on. Dirty says, I met your aunt last night. She works at a nursing home I'm in. She already did a podcast, so she started telling me about yours. Super nice lady. Shout out to her. I know you're talking about in West Virginia. Yeah, love my aunt, love all of them out there. So yeah, shout out to you for meeting her. I don't want to say a name right here. I don't know if she want me to, but yeah, I know you're talking about. Yo, that's my whole family. We're all like that. And you see, you probably could tell that we kind of related. You see my face. Yeah, we got the same copy and paste face on that side of the family. So yeah, shout out to you, Dirty. I appreciate you for that one, letting me know you met my aunt. Yeah, that's my mom's sister. All right. Now, we got a lot going on here for sure. Okay, speaking about crime and all that kind of stuff and whatnot, let's talk about some of these irresponsible gun owners. Now, y'all know I'm all about responsible gun ownership, Second Amendment rights, 100%. Absolutely. But some people, it's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Did you see the story where the little girl got shot after the ball rolled into the wrong yard? Like she got shot, like she got grazed by a bullet in her cheek. Her dad got shot. I think the mom got shot too. It's like, for what reason? Why? And then there was the incident in Texas near Austin where this guy shot at 4 cheerleaders who were trying to get into his car. You know, they got into the wrong car and he shot at them. Shot one girl. She had got her spleen removed or something like that. It was crazy. And then, of course, there was a guy in Kansas City who shot through the glass door because a guy rang the wrong doorbell. He got scared. It's like, what are y'all doing? You can't do stuff like that. You got to understand the laws. First of all, look, if they don't come into your house, if they don't just break into your crib, you can't just blast. You can't do that. And then, okay, somebody opens your car door by mistake. They walk away. You can't just shoot them for opening your car door by mistake. It didn't jump inside and try to carjack you. That didn't happen. And you got to be aware of what's going on. You got to be aware. These are cheerleaders right here. These are young girls. They pose no threat to you. Okay? They probably got on their cheerleading outfits. You can hear them talking. What are you doing? And then the ball rolled into the wrong yard. It's like, why would you, like, where's the justification for doing something like that? It's so weird. It is so weird. Let me see if I can find the video about the ball rolling into the wrong yard. I think I've already shown the one about Kansas City and also the cheerleaders out there in Texas. Let me see if I can find that. Oh yeah, this is really bad. This is really bad because little girl, so innocent, and she's kind of like confused about what happened. Let's go ahead and play it right quick.
Another example of gun violence over a simple mistake. This adorable 6-year-old girl and her parents are still recovering from wounds they suffered when cops say their neighbor opened fire. Why? They say because a basketball rolled onto his yard. Stephen Fabian spoke with Dr. Phil about why we keep hearing about incidents where a trigger is pulled over such an everyday occurrence.
Another day, another senseless shooting. This time, it's the littlest victim, a kindergartner.
We got a 6-year-old with a gunshot wound to the head.
It happened as a bunch of kids were playing basketball, and the ball rolled into the neighbor's yard. According to a report, the neighbor got into a confrontation with one of the kids' parents. He went back in the house to get his gun and came out blasting. The girl's father was badly injured trying to shield her.
There's a single gunshot wound to the chest.
Stitches from the bullet wound still scarring her cheek. Little Kinsley White has a heartbreaking question for the suspect.
Why did you shoot my daddy and me?
Oh my goodness, man. Oh my goodness. That's terrible. That is terrible.
Cops raided the suspect's house outside Charlotte, but say they are still searching for Robert Singletary. Kinsley's is the late.
Wait. No racial element, none of that. Not that's not going on. But in Kansas City, racial element, right? Because remember, the shooter was a white guy and it was a black victim. Didn't I tell y'all that? Didn't I already say this? I said it in my video. I was like, look, the narrative gets spun depending upon who's on other side of any side of the gun. Who's a victim? Who is perpetrator? It's always a narrative. If the shooter is white and you have non-white victims, racist, especially if there's a white male shooter and a black victim, racism right away. That's the assumption. If it's the other way around, black male shooter and non-black victims, there's no mention of race. I mean, you could be a racist if you're black, white, Puerto Rican, candy stripe. So why is it only a race element mentioned when there is a white shooter only, but never anybody else? Isn't that racist itself?
For Robert Singletary. Kinsley's is the latest crazy case of an American being shot over an innocent mistake. Cheerleader Peyton Washington was shot in the back and leg when another cheerleader accidentally opened the door of the wrong car in a parking lot in Austin. Teenager Ralph Yarl was shot in the head after ringing the wrong doorbell in Kansas City. Kaylin Gillis was shot to death after driving down the wrong driveway in upstate New York. We spoke to Dr. Phil.
Okay, we can just ignore his part right here because he's not going to have a really good insight. You guys know that. Matter of fact, let's let him talk. I don't want to just censor the guy or just cut him short. Let's let him hear. Let's hear what he's got to say. I don't mean to poison the well, but that was just my opinion right away. Let's just hear him though.
These are really innocent mistakes. People turning down the wrong driveway, a basketball rolling into somebody's yard, yet people are getting shot. People are dying. Why is this happening?
There has to be a pre-existing mindset where somebody is on the edge. They're already agitated and they're on the edge because they're not reacting to the stimulus. They're reacting to some state of mind they've got in their head that's
actually a pretty good point. I'm kind of surprised.
Causing them to overreact. I hope everybody that hears this takes a deep breath and says, calm down. You know, instead of picking up a gun, if you think you're under attack, pick up the phone, call 911.
Well, I don't know about that. He was doing good up to that part. I halfway agree with him. I agree with the part about these things are happening because people are already on the edge. They're already kind of like, ready to go over something else that is not the fault of whoever is the victim in these cases. Okay. You don't go out and shoot a family up because of a basketball. There was something else going on there. You don't shoot some cheerleaders because you thought they're trying to get into your car. That's not how that works. There's something already in your mind that had you on the edge. That's true. But the part about calling the police, that's senseless. You see what that's going to happen. Like, you see how that's going to work. You see how it worked in Chicago where the lady was trying to flat down the police car while there was a couple being like beaten and robbed right in front of them, and they just kept on going. The police cannot be your bodyguard. If you are in true danger, you need to be armed to protect yourself. But true danger is not the equivalent of a little girl playing basketball and the ball rolls in your yard. Being in danger is not some cheerleaders trying to get into your car by accident and thought it was theirs. This is just not how that works. And, I've been in all these situations. I've been in a situation where I tried to get into the wrong car. I said that last time. I was getting the pizza, parked my car in front in the parking lot, and I come back out, and I push my butt into my car, hear the beeping, and I try to get into a vehicle that wasn't mine. It was the exact same make and model, same color, same everything. It just had a bunch of junk inside, and I don't live life like that, so I knew it wasn't my car after I tried a couple times to open the door, and it wasn't open. I'm like, okay, what's going on? Then I had to examine, there's some stuff in there. That's not my car. Okay. And the same thing with the basketball. You know what? I remember playing basketball as a kid, like in the neighborhood. We have like hoops in different streets. Kind of hard to explain, but anyway, we had basketball hoops set up like on the street. So it'd be in front of people's houses and like on the road that came into our house. And every weekend, if we play on one particular street, they call the police on us. And it's like, the police, really? Is that what you gonna call the police for what? So then one time, the police came out. Normally they'll come out and just say, hey, we got to come out. They called the police, because your ball your ball hit one of their cars. It's like, man, who cares if the basketball hit this beat up 97 Pontiac with bad wheels and tires? Don't nobody care, man. That ball ain't going to do no more damage to the car has already been done, okay? We're not bouncing the ball on the windshield or anything like that. It'd be like if somebody hits a shot or they break it and it bounces and it might brush up against the car. They're calling the police for that. So normally they would come out there and just say, hey, man, the ball's hitting the cars, basically. So then one day they bring out two officers. It's a black guy. Now he wants to actually play basketball. So we out there balling with the officer. The whole thing about the cars and all that, we ain't even worried about that. He's hitting the car with the ball as well. we don't care. So this stuff is just kind of dumb, unnecessary. One thing I never saw was anybody try to bring up a pistol over the ball hitting the car. That's crazy. A gun over that? I mean, calling the police is bad enough on some 14, 15-year-old kids playing basketball at 2 o'clock in the afternoon on a Sunday in the summertime. You see what I'm saying? That's dumb enough. But then to bring your gun out is just crazy. Totally crazy. But yeah, shout out to Dr. Phil for a halfway decent opinion about the situation. But there is more we got to get to. If you like what you're hearing so far, please give the video a thumbs up. Like the video, share the video, do all of that good stuff. That'll help me out tremendously. That's right, Golf and Guns. You can get shot in the hood over nothing. You know, and where I was at the time, this was like a more middle type area. It wasn't no hood area. Now, if we were in the hood area, we have a whole basketball court. If we were in the hood area, it'd be a basketball court. You could go play basketball. And then if you're at the basketball court, you can get shot over the game, which is a whole different story. When we were playing in the regular, like, suburban type neighborhood, nobody was getting in fights and whatnot over the game. But you were in the hood playing basketball, you can die over the game. And I remember being in some of these debates, and then they would talk about, oh, black community, how to solve it, all this and that. And then white guys like, yeah, nighttime basketball. I'm like, man, be for real. Be for real, man. Like, people that talk like that have no idea what they're saying. These are the same guys that vote Democrat thinking that the crime will be isolated in the black community or in the low income area where they don't live. And then when the crime is visiting them right in downtown Chicago, Los Angeles, San Fran, shooting them upside the head, all this and that, when that happens and they're surprised, like, oh, what's going on? Crime's out of control. Well, crime has been out of control, but you guys didn't really care because it didn't hit your particular neck of the woods. And now that it's here, now it's a problem. Now you want to try to get active and try to figure out a way to solve it. But anyway, I digress. Let's continue here. Let's talk about, hold on. Let's talk about your man on CNN, Vivek Ramaswamy. And that name is difficult to pronounce. If I said it incorrectly, y'all please forgive me. I'm not Indian, obviously. I cannot pronounce all these things. All right, but Vivek was on CNN having a debate with Don Lemon about the Civil War and black folks and other stuff. Here's what I think happened. I think what happened is Vivek gave a speech at the NRA, and in that speech, he was talking about the Civil War and the NRA being formed to give black Americans right to own guns, and the war being fought to end slavery, or the war being fought to give black folks rights. Now, what I will say is that he's not right about the war. I mean, the result of the war is what he says. The result of the war was, okay, ending the slavery, black rights, or whatever. That's the result, but that wasn't the purpose. That wasn't the purpose. So he's halfway wrong on that, or halfway right. Because if the purpose of the war was to free black people, then both sides wouldn't have had slaves. How are you going to say, hey, I'm fighting against you to free black people, but we both had slaves? It makes no sense. The war was about more complex things, mostly a states' rights issue. That's really what it was about. But as a result of the war, there were certain things done that were beneficial to all of us. I think these things could have happened without the war, like happened in Brazil. Brazil had slavery up until the 1880s, but it ended naturally as a result of industrialization. It wasn't because of a war that had to get fought. Okay, so I disagree with part of what he said about the war, although the result is what he said. However, beyond that, I think what he said was right on point. And I think the reason why this debate happened is because, like I said, Vivek gave a speech at the NRA about this, and then he was confronted by Don Lemon. All right, so that's kind of what that is. Let's see, I'm reading some of the chat here. Exactly, DCF Press. There are multiple issues at hand. There was more than one issue. It was not just, you couldn't just say the war was about one thing. That'd just be false. Did the war accomplish certain things? Yes.
It's a direction.
Were the people that had certain types of ideologies? Ending slavery was a big part of it. The GOP started in 1854, and the first president was Abraham Lincoln. And of course, he was the president during the war. I'm sure his presidency had a role to play in the war, but there was quite a few things about that. That could be a whole debate or talk in itself, the Civil War. What were all the factors led up to it? Who was fighting? Why were they fighting? All of that. Just like they said, I think they said that Grant could have been a Union. Grant could have been a Confederate general. Nah, I'm not saying that right. It wasn't Grant. It was Lee. Lee could have been the Union general, but he did not want to fight against his own home state of Virginia. So he decided to go with the Confederacy. You see what I'm saying? It wasn't even about slavery because both sides had slaves. It wasn't even about Union, Confederacy. It was more about state loyalism. It wasn't about this whole idea of federalism we got today. Everything now is about federal. But back then it was more about states, which is why it was about states' rights. All right, but let's play some of this right here. Don Lemon got so triggered, so offended. Let's play a little bit of it.
The very policies that we implemented in this country in the name of helping Black Americans have actually been disastrous for Black Americans and all Americans. And I think that's something that we need to wake up to.
In 1865, you were talking about the Black codes, right?
That's right.
Passed, enacted to make it a crime for a Black person to carry a gun in the South. But you're equating that to the current president? You're referring to economic chains? What are you saying?
Well, I was referring to Joe Biden's, I think, ill-chosen expression to say they're the party that wants to put you back into chains.
Remember that? Hold on. I'm going to go play that right quick. They're going to put y'all back in chains. This was years ago. It was crazy because he said that in Danville, Virginia, which is like right there by the old plantation. It's like right there. South Boston, Danville, Southern Virginia, Cotton Fields, all of that. It's right there. Like, why would you say something like in that location with a mostly Black crowd? It's crazy. That's something my great-granddad's from, that particular area of Virginia. So, like, I've heard some stories about that particular part of the state. So him saying that there was crazy. Let me see if I can find that. Biden. Okay, let's type here. Biden back in chains. This was years ago. It was posted 10 years ago.
Look at what.
But this was in Danville, Virginia. So this was 2012 during the Barack Obama Part 2 campaign. Hold on, let's check it out.
Look at what they value and look at their budget and what they're proposing. Romney wants to he said in the first 100 days, he's going to let the big banks once again write their own rules. Unchain Wall Street. They're going to put y'all back in chains.
They're going to put y'all back in chains. That's what he said. That's what he said. I mean, the guy is a nut, man. People want to say, oh, he's just old ABL. Man, come on. Anybody trying to hear that, man? I don't care. Like, all these excuses, man. You said what you said. Stand on it. Don't try to say because you're old, all this and that and the third. You're all right. You know what you said, man. Like, why we got to play games, man? Like, if you said something, just defend it or apologize or whatever you want to do. Don't say, oh, I was old. I didn't know any better. Yes, you did. So he was referring to that, what Biden said back in 2012, which is what he said. He said it on stage, on camera. You can't deny it.
What I'm actually saying is that if you look at the policies of the modern Democratic Party.
Democrats.
Absolutely. So what I'm saying is that actually it's policies like that of Lyndon Johnson and Joe Biden that are actually holding Black Americans back.
The war on poverty?
Yes, and in particular, his Great Society, where he actually created incentives in the family, where if you're a family, you could actually get more money by not having the father in the home. Guess what you get?
What he's saying right here is right, and part in the bad freeze frame. But what he's saying right here is right about the welfare state, Great Society, LBJ. A lot of these things I kind of get tired of hearing. I hear it so much being in the circle I'm in. But what he's saying is correct. And if a lot of normies have not heard it before, they would really, it'd really help them to hear what he's saying, do their own research on it, and then come to a conclusion on their own, rather than just listening to John Lemon and then having his word be the bond.
Guess what you get? You get what you pay for. And I think it's been really bad for the black community. I think it's really bad for all Americans.
Do you have anything on this before I move on to China?
I don't see what one has to do with the other, but go on. I took up a lot of time with Fox.
Oh, it's fine. We have time.
I don't really see what one has to do with the other, especially consider and using the Civil War to talk about black Americans. That war was not fought for black people to have guns. That's not.
That war was fought for black people to have freedoms in this country.
Nah, I mean, the war was very complicated. You can't just say it was one thing. Now, the result was what he's saying, but that wasn't why. When you say things like that, you gotta be. When you say things like that, you gotta be very specific and be accurate. You can't say things that are halfway correct because it's too easy for your opponent to hone in on that and hammer you as a liar or a guy that's trying to embellish the truth, and you can't really fight against it.
Yeah, actually, that's why the Civil War was fought.
Okay,
and the sad part about it,
fought for black people to have guns. I think.
Actually, you know, funny fact is, black people did not get to enjoy the other freedoms until their Second Amendment rights were secured. And I think that's one of the lessons that we learned.
Aren't allowed to enjoy the freedoms.
I disagree with you on that, Don. I disagree with you. And I think you're doing a disservice to our country by failing to recognize the fact that we have equality before the law.
And you live in this country, then you can disagree with me. But we're not. You mentioned in there that.
See, you know what he said right there about when you're black and you live in the country, you can disagree with me. That is what I hear a lot from people. They say, you know, you can't have a white person out there talking about these issues. If the debate panel, if you want to call it that, was all black, it still would kind of go over the same way. It'd be a different excuse to not listen to what Vivek is saying. You understand? Maybe some people might pick up on it a little bit better if Vivek was a black person, but ultimately the general masses of people would just find a different way to dismiss him. Since he's not black, they could say, you're not black, you're Indian, shut up. If he was black, oh, you hate yourself, you're Uncle Tom, all this and that, shut up. It'd be the same thing, although it might get a couple more people to listen that wouldn't normally listen. But again, it would still be another excuse. That's how that goes. Don Lemon will have another excuse. Oh, you hate yourself. You're self-loathing, all this and that. You don't know anything. You're ignorant. You're just talking for Fox News, white conservatives. It'll always be an excuse. It's never just a matter of talking about the actual points, if they're true or false.
Three different shades
Don, I
of
think we have to be able to
here.
talk about these issues in the open, regardless of the color of our skin. Black Americans today, to say that, compare that to 1865 and 1964,
I think for you to compare it to
absolutely
1865 and
have equal rights
1964
in this
is
country.
actually, I think it's insulting to black people. It's insulting to me as an African American. I don't want to sit here and argue with you because it's infuriating for you to put those things together. It's not right. Your telling of history is wrong.
What part of the history was wrong?
What part of the history was wrong? That the Civil War was fought. You're making people think that the Civil War was fought for black people, only for black people to get guns and for black people to have.
The Civil War was fought for black people in this country to get freedoms, a noble mission. And I think that even after we succeeded, we had to actually secure those freedoms.
To reduce it in a speech at the NRA to say you're making people think.
So here's the meat of the conversation. There was an NRA speech, and Vivek spoke, and then Don got mad at the speech, and he wanted to confront him right here on the show. Because I don't know if that was his reason to come on CNN, was to talk about the Civil War and black issues. But Don made it be the issue. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Let me know in the comments below if you have any kind of inside knowledge on the situation. But I think that Don was mad about the speech and decided to confront him right there on the show about it. That's probably what happened.
Are you trying to say that black people to get guns, that was the reason that you're there at the NRA? That was the reason.
Ben Vineyard says either you're African or you're American. I don't think they have dual citizenship. You can't have dual citizenship. Well, I mean, I'm not sure what you would be a citizen of in Africa, but I understand what you mean. Personally, I don't use the term African American really. I just say black. Because African American, that was a term that was popularized in 1988 by Al Sharpton, I think, or just Jesse Jackson, one of the two. One of the two guys popularized that in 88, and we've gone with that ever since. Now, the term had been used before 88, before Messy Jesse or whoever popularized it and declared we'd be called that. It had been used before, but it wasn't widespread until 88. 1988, in my lifetime. I was born when a term got used to describe us like pardon me, en masse, I just say black. You know what I mean? And then beyond that, I'm an American. When I'm in America, I'm black. When I go overseas, I'm an American. That's for real. When I go overseas, I'm an American. Here, I'm black, and that's fine. It is what it is.
Reason for the Civil War.
It is a
that's
fact.
Reductive.
It's not
and
reductive,
I think it's
Don.
insulting. There are a whole plethora of reasons that for the Civil War.
With due respect, I find your explanation reductive and actually insulting.
There's more here, but Don got really triggered, really offended. Let me see if I can find that part where he's talking about the race and all that kind of good stuff.
Say that black people, say what you said again.
Black people
secure their freedoms after the Civil War, and that things turned around. That's a lie. That's not. The NRA did not play a big role in
This
that.
is just historical fact.
It's
But
not historical fact.
The part that I
just
find
because you say it's historical fact.
The part that I find
historical
insulting
fact.
is when you say today black Americans don't have those rights after we have gone through civil rights revolution in this country.
You are sitting here telling an African American about the rights and what you find insulting about the way I live, the skin I live in every day.
Here's where you and I have
the
a different
freedoms
point
that
of view.
black and white that black people don't have in this country, and that black people do have.
Well, here's where you and I have a different point of view. I think we should be able to express our views regardless of the color of our skin. We should have this debate.
I'm not saying you
without
shouldn't
me
express your
regarding
views,
you as a
but I think
black
it's
man,
insulting that
but
you're
me
sitting
regarding you
here,
as a fellow citizen.
that you're
That's what I
sitting
think we should
here,
say.
whatever ethnicity you are, explaining to me
Whatever ethnicity
about
I'm, I'll
what
tell
it's like to be black.
Whatever
in America.
ethnicity I'm.
So he wanted to say something like a white splain, but he's like not sure what he is. So he's like, yo, whatever you are splaining, you see what I mean? And that's how a lot of guys would feel. But again, if Vivek happened to be a black person, it'd be a different excuse. Oh, you hate yourself. That'd be the main thing they say. That's kind of how that works. And the irony wouldn't even be, Don wouldn't even see the irony in that statement. It's like, Don, aren't you married to a white man? So would that be considered self-hate? I wouldn't say that. I'm not a person that hates people that interracially date. I don't care nothing about that. You could be interracially date. You could be a gay person and date. As long as y'all are consenting adults, I don't really care. I don't even care about the whole LGBT thing. My problem is when they try to push their ideology on us that don't want to be part of it. It's like, look, if you are an adult, happens to be LGBT, you have somebody that's LGBT with you, and y'all consent, ain't no coercion or nothing like that going on, then, hey, man, y'all go do your thing. That's not my lifestyle. I'm not a part of it. Y'all go do that. It's not my business. But then when you try to force me to participate talking about, some proper pronouns. Trans women are, no, you're not a woman. You're 6'5". Your jaw is as blocky as a box of Legos. Okay. You're not a woman. You are a man. Let's call it what it is. Okay. And leave the kids out of it. Why do you have little kids in drag shows? And then why is it a problem? Why, when I say that there shouldn't be little kids in drag shows, does the LGBTQ element of P extremists come out and say that I'm somehow a transphobe or homophobe? Is it homophobia to say that you should leave kids alone? Are you trying to tell me that that's the whole point of that movement, is to have kids be abused in a certain kind of way legally? Like, what are we talking about? Anyway, I digress. My point is that people that think like Don Lemon would think, if you have a white partner as a black person, that you hate yourself. That's what they say, not me. It's what they say. So if Don was to try to attack a black person that's self-hating, then he got to look in the mirror and say the same thing for himself. So it is what it is. All right. But if you like what you hear so far, please give the video a thumbs up, like the video, share the video, do all of that good stuff. Am I following the Trump case? It's nothing to follow right now. If anything happens, if any news breaks, then I'm with it. But right now, there's nothing. A bunch of random court action that means nothing. Like, until we see some real things that go on that you can really, sink your teeth into, I'm not even really interested. I don't even really care. Be totally honest with you. I couldn't care less about what's happening right now until we have some things that really, jump off the page and bite me. Beyond that, I can't really do too much for it. Now, we got more topics on deck, of course. The IRS Whistleblower. Have you guys been following that story right there? So there's a couple of stories out. Now, the whistleblower. Matter of fact, let's go before the whistleblower. Let's go back to 2020 during the election. Remember the Hunter Biden laptop story? It was verified by New York Post, one of the nation's oldest, most respected papers, owned by News Corp, which is owned by Rupert Murdoch, couldn't get it out, who owns Fox News. This is a very well-respected paper, respected person, respected family. These guys are not going to put out fake news at all on New York Post. Some may not like New York Post. Oh, they're too conservative or whatever. That's fine. You cannot like a thing, but if they put out facts, they put out facts regardless. And I think about papers like New York Post, Washington Post, etc. When they put out false information, not just things that they got wrong, but false information, when they did not verify it, they just put it out there, they publish it, they are often held liable for that. When they put out things that are stolen that they shouldn't have, they're held liable. It's not like Twitter and other like social media platforms. You see, if I post something on YouTube, I did it, not YouTube. This is why, remember that guy that got arrested, the National Air Guardsman, the reservist, the young guy, Jack Teixeira? He was posting things on Discord. Discord's not in trouble. He is, because Discord is a host. They can't control really what you post. They can to a certain extent with certain automatic filters, but that's not foolproof. Okay. Music and movies and stuff like that, they can kind of block you a little bit on that right away. But for the most part, they can't stop you from posting anything. So anyway, New York Post is not that same way. If they put anything on their website, if they publish anything in their paper, they're held liable. They're held responsible. So if they published on somebody's laptop story, it's true. Then they verified it that it's true. And we all saw that it was true. It was Hunter on the tape smoking crack. He was sending emails talking about, hey, 10 for the big guy, all this and that and the third. We know that was him. But then what happened? There was letters signed by some quote unquote retired intelligence officers, 50 of them, saying that the Hunter Biden laptop looks like Russian misinformation. That's what they said in the letter. And the letter came out right at the same time that the story came out, which was right before the November 2020 election between Joe Biden and Donald Trump. Now, if the story was to be believed, widespread among all Americans, among all eligible voters, then that could have changed the election's outcome. You could have President Trump again rather than President Joe Biden. The story was squashed on social media. It was squashed on all the newspapers, all the news outlets, television, everywhere. It was squashed. And then a letter came out saying that the whole thing was probably misinfo from Russia, foreign misinformation, like the Steele dossier, something like that. But then come to find out that it was organized by the former head of the CIA. It was an organized letter because my man, what's the man's name? Mike Morrell. I think that's his name. Mike Morrell, the former CIA director, got a phone call from, I believe it was Tony Blinken, who is now Secretary of State under the Biden administration. At the time, he was a Biden advisor on his campaign. So Mike Morrell gets a phone call from Tony Blinken. Hey, man, we got this story out about Biden's son, about his oldest boy, Hunter, smoking crack, 10 for the big guy. This could sink our campaign. We're in panic mode. So here's a favor I want you to do. Here's a favor. I want you to get 50 guys that are on your network, intelligence guys, and have them sign this letter that says that the whole thing about the laptop is probably fake from Russia. And that's what happened. It was an organized thing from the Biden campaign, now the Biden administration. It was Deep State Swamp working with Deep State Swamp. Biden been there since 1972, 1973. Biden's been there so long. My parents were kids my parents were kids, like early teens or like late single digits when he first got into the Senate from Delaware. He's been there for a very long time, has very deep connections, and he used the connections to be able to get that letter signed off on. So the letter comes out, and then every network says, okay, here's a letter from all these people that said that it's fake. It's probably fake. And if you went on a television and said that it was real and it's obviously real, that's him on the tape smoking crack, no, you're wrong. Here's a letter. These guys know what's going on. These are the experts. You're not an expert. That was a narrative. But now we know the laptop was real. Of course it was real. We knew it from the beginning. And that the letter was organized. And the next part is that the actual investigation into Hunter Biden, because after the laptop got proven to be real, now we on the right are trying to investigate what's happening. But there's corruption going on because the state's attorney? Hold on. What's my man's name? I just want to get the right title here. I'm talking about what's his name? The guy that was about to be a Supreme Court justice. Not Michael Morrell. He was a former CIA director. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Attorney General. The Attorney General, what's his name? His name is okay, he was Attorney General. His name is Merrick Garland. That's right, Merrick Garland. Merrick Garland was going to be Supreme Court justice under Obama, but that got blocked by the Republicans. So then, rather than being a Supreme Court justice, he becomes Attorney General under the Biden administration, right? So Merrick Garland is the guy that's blocking the Hunter Biden investigation for going the right way. Imagine my surprise that the Attorney General, the guy who was in charge of such things, is blocking the whole thing from being able to happen the right way. And this is according to an IRS whistleblower. And here's a question I have. Since when did the IRS have so much power to just be involved in all these kinds of situations? Like, why is an IRS official in the room with Merrick Garland and Joe Biden? Why is he in the room? Different story. I digress. The whole point is that the guy who is talking like, who's saying these things, who's blowing the whistle, has been in the IRS for a long time, 10 years, a veteran guy, apparently a respected guy. He's not come out publicly because he doesn't want to get Hillary Clinton. He doesn't want to get Epstein. I don't blame him. If you come out and say that the federal government is corrupt at the top level, Merrick Garland, Attorney General, Joe Biden, Commander-in-Chief, if you come out and say something like that, and you may have evidence to prove it, your life is in danger. Your life is in danger. Oh, yeah. Guys have been murdered for less. Guys have been outright murked for less. I mean, they killed Epstein. Well, Epstein, that was pretty big because if Epstein was allowed to live and he started telling, oh, man, that'd have been real bad because the thing about Epstein is that he had all the names of those who may have gone to the island. And we saw some pretty powerful people we already saw Prince Andrew. Was that his name, Prince Andrew? We already saw him in the picture. He didn't even really care. He was like, yeah, I'm going to pose right here, front and center of this picture with some little girl on my arm. I don't really care. Not little girl. She was really a young girl. I'm not sure she was little, but doesn't matter. I'm going to pose right here, front and center. Ghislaine Maxwell in the background. I'm going to just do this. Now, other guys were a little bit more cautious, I suppose, and they don't want their name to be out there. You know, your Tom Hanks of the world, if he was on the manifest, Bill Gates, a lot of these guys, they don't want their business to be out there. So they went ahead and broke them in the cell. I mean, what are the odds of the cameras not working, the guards not looking, and this big 6'4" dude hanging himself from a top bunk where he could just easily stand right next to and not be hanging? It didn't make any sense at all. Okay, it was completely ridiculous. But hold on. So here's your man, Prince Andrew, right? He didn't care. He was like, yep, I'm out here wilding. Front and center. Yeah, take the picture. I don't care that my mom is the Queen of England. So what? I mean, these guys are dumb at a certain point. So to cover up their stupidity and their nonsense, they went ahead and just iced Epstein. I'm surprised she's not dead too. I mean, maybe they couldn't, do her at the same time. It's like, all right, we didn't already took Epstein, so if she dies, that's a little bit too obvious, right? That's a little bit too obvious, but they may have her be quiet and use other means to do it rather than just outright icing her. They may threaten her family or something like that. Who knows? Who knows? All right. But if you like what you're hearing so far, please give the video a thumbs up. Like the video, share the video, do all of that good stuff. What got proven false? What was it a fake picture, or you talking about the whole thing with Epstein being committing suicide in his cell, allegedly? That's what they said. He committed suicide in his cell. It didn't make any sense from the beginning. The craziest thing was the officers who talking about, we were online shopping. Online shopping? You got one job. Look at that camera. You have Jeffrey Epstein in here, and you can't do your job. Look at the camera. You online shopping, going to sleep. I mean, be for real. That was totally ridiculous, totally crazy. Nobody know nothing. All the witnesses, we don't know nothing. We don't know what's going on. It's crazy. All right. So I'm reading some here. Okay, scheduled for later. Talking about Ghislaine Maxwell. Hey, it might be a little bit later. If she dies at any point in time, the obvious connection is Epstein, and they're gonna bring that back up. So she might not get iced anytime at all. I don't think. Or they might need to prove that she really did it. So they might have video of her, taking her life. But we'll continue here. If you like what you're hearing so far, you know what to do. Give the video a thumbs up, like the video, share the video, do all of that good stuff. So we'll see if the whistleblower is going to be vindicated, if they actually do anything about the corrupt investigation, about Merrick Garland getting in the way. Let's see if anything happens. I mean, my faith is a little bit low on that, but we'll see. We'll see how the whole thing turns out. I have my eye on the case for sure, so I'm definitely going to be on it until we can get some kind of resolution here. But what's we got going on? I think that's pretty much all I wanted to cover. There's more topics, but I don't have all the time in the world. I may have some more videos for you guys before I get to the calls. And the number to call is 434-658-1220. Again, 434-658-1220. I may have more videos for you guys. See if I can pull those up right quick before I keep on rocking and rolling. And I will also read the chat at the same time to see if everything is on point. Let's keep moving here. Okay, now here's a video. It's some cussing a little bit, so cover your kids' ears, hide your kids, hide your wife. Now, this video is dumb, okay? I might even do a video on this perhaps, or I might put it on my my IG or somewhere. Oh, by the way, follow me on Instagram, instagram.com/Anthony B. Logan. I'm trying to get my Instagram to 100,000 followers and my YouTube to 1 million followers, which will be happening very soon. Thanks to y'all. If you guys have been here for a long time or you're a brand new watcher, I appreciate you. Could not do the show without you. All right. But that'll be my goal right now. And then we're going to go forward. 2 million, 3 million. Then I'm going to go diamond, 10 million. That's the objective, but and beyond. So here's a video. I almost know exactly where this is and why it happened. But the video's caption says, "Racism is still real in Georgia. I can't believe Bob chopped me like that." So again, a little bit of cussing, y'all. And we do have two men talking right here, but one man is most of the talking. Let's check it out.
Racism is still real in Georgia. I can't believe Bob tried me like that.
What was it that you was asking me before you interrupted me with my
what? Now I know the ask word might be a little difficult for some people, but that was totally wrong.
Racism is still real in Georgia. I can't believe Bob tried me like that.
What was it that you was asking me before you interrupted me with my dinner? Because I turned it all the way down for you. Okay, but what was it that you was asking me? Is there a reason why you would ask me to turn my phone down when there's a band playing music that I don't give a fuck about? Do you think it's appropriate for you to ask me, a 33-year-old, a black man, to turn his motherfucking down? You should know you shouldn't say a motherfucker to me. That's a fact. My hand shouldn't be shaking eating my motherfucking chicken. That's a fact. My hand shouldn't be shaking while I'm eating my motherfucking chicken. Now what you better do is cock-a-doodle-doo over there and leave me the fuck alone. You won't ask another black man to turn his motherfucking phone down no time soon again.
Okay. There's so much happening here. First of all, this image right here tells the whole story. This image right here tells the entire story. First of all, I'm assuming Atlanta, Midtown somewhere, or like on the outskirts, not quite, because the white guy probably wouldn't be there in Midtown. You know, that's not really his vibe, I don't think. Midtown, that's like LGBTQ, LMNOP Central. So I don't think he was there for that. He could have been. He could have just been outside of his job or something, I don't know. Anyway, could be the Beltline somewhere in Atlanta, or it might not be Atlanta. It might be, like I said, on the outskirts. Now, you got a lot happening here. First of all, the guy's just soft. A lot of real feminine energy. What I'm hearing right now is not him talking. It's his single mom talking to him, his single hood rat mom, because you got a lot of single moms out there that don't behave like this. But a lot of the hood rat moms, they talk the exact same way. The exact same way. So if you grew up as a little boy only hearing your crazy mom, single mom, no man anywhere in sight, no grandpa, pawpaw, uncle, no older brother, cousin, nothing. It's just you and a bunch of women speaking the same way. Mama, auntie, grandma, all speaking the same way. You're doing the same thing, right? His fingernails are painted. Obviously, he's LGBT. You can hear by his voice as well. His knife is not the right way around. He has the end of the knife cutting his chicken up. You know, okay. So you see right here, he has like the end of his knife using that to cut his chicken up. So he's nervous. He's soft. His hands are shaking. All he was asked to do was turn his music down on his phone by the guy. And then when he did it, he was like, "Thank you, man. I appreciate it." One thing I hate them more than one thing that really kind of irritates me, really kind of grinds my gears, is when people are walking around with the music from their phone playing very loud, or the audio from their phone playing very loud. I hate that. Put a pair of headphones on, please. Headphones, ear pods, or how about this? Turn the phone off. Not off all the way, but the sound off. Normally, when if I'm browsing my phone in public, my sound is off. My sound is off. I don't have my sound on because I don't want to disturb anybody. And I'm trying to hear my surroundings. I can't hear my surroundings if I got my phone. It's just too much going on. My sound's going to be off on my phone. So the guy's just a nut, just soft, real feminine, because if he was not that way, then the phone wouldn't have been on to begin with. He wouldn't have had the sound on to begin with. But if his sound was on and he was given a simple request by somebody, "Hey man, can you turn it down for me?" It wouldn't be a problem. "All right, man, no problem. I got you. Don't even worry about it." That should be how he responds rather than this right here. Racism. You know what? This is what they talk about when they talk about Georgia and it's still racist. They speak about things like this. There is real things that happen in Georgia that are racist, but typically they're not speaking about that. They're speaking about stuff like this, which is not racism. It's just one person getting triggered and butthurt, and because somebody is of a different race, they want to accuse them of being racist. That doesn't make any sense. Even if he said a thing to you that was offensive or you thought was inappropriate, doesn't mean it's automatically racist. Did he call you a racial slur? Did he do something that was clearly racist. Nah, your sound on your phone was just loud. You said turn it down. How was that anything dealing with race at all? People are so weird. Yeah, common courtesy, very common courtesy. It's simple. Yeah, people saying common courtesy, public decency. Jacob Twig guy says, yeah, he does not need a knife for that chicken. That chicken is pretty tender. You can just eat it with your hands. But, you can tell you got them pretty nails, right? Pretty is a strong word. He has painted nails. I'll put it to you that way. So he is trying to keep his nails together. That's all. So he has to use a fork and a knife, and using a knife the wrong way. The complete wrong way. Now, it's not a straight blade. You could tell because you could see how it's different right there. You could see the handle of the knife pretty well, and you can see it begins to get to the serrated part right here. So I'm not sure how that's very comfortable, having a serrated blade in your hand. But it's like a butter knife, but still, that's not very comfortable to have that in your hand. And maybe he realized it at the last minute and didn't want to get caught trying to swing it around and wipe it off and all of that. It's just weird. All right. Wallace Williams said, shout out to Fat Matt's, best barbecue in Atlanta. Is that where that was? I'm not sure if that's where that was, but shout out to them anyway. Yeah, there you go. You got a Bud Light drinker. You got a Bud Light drinker right there for sure. Absolutely. Yeah, it's a butter knife, right? Little small serrations in the butter knife. Chicken with a knife. Hey man, I ain't gonna lie. I've done that before, but it'd be like with a big piece. Like if I'm eating like a turkey leg or something like that, something big like that. But like regular chicken, like KFC or something like that, eat it with your hands. Like little drums and flats and stuff like that, little wings, eat it with your hands. But if it's a big piece, I'll cut it with a fork and a knife. But I'm not gonna do all this jazz right here. This man was just butchering the chicken. At a certain point, it's like, Doc, how many pieces you going to cut it into? You cutting the bone at this point. Just go ahead and eat it. Like, what are we doing? You're going to have chicken and bones too. Anyway, I digress. We got calls on deck in a little bit. The number to call is 434-658-1220. Do not be afraid to call. It's all good. I'll get to the calls in a minute. But first, we got super chats on deck. I'm going to read those. Thank you to Dutch Schaefer, who says, ABL, I need you to give me multiple consecutive serves with someone tonight. Hey man, if they are, if they are on the line, then you'll have it. Wallace says, yeah, I'm there all the time. Folk are always respectful. So I guess it is where that was. Now, where's that spot at? Is this in the city? Is it Buckhead, Midtown, downtown, somewhere else? Off the beaten path. Where is that spot at? All right. Shout out to Heather Stella, who says, favorite YouTuber. Thanks for all you do. Thank you for your support and your very kind words. I definitely appreciate you. Thank you to Lou Maldonado, who says, common sense ABL, thumbs up. Thank you for that. Thank you to Kai's Parchment Turnius, who says, how about Newsom ending the National Guard San Francisco? I've not seen that. Interesting. Thank you to David Wan, who says, quote, flicks on the plane, unquote, exclamation mark. The newest blockbuster is coming this spring to a flat near you. Tickets are dirt cheap, so reserve your seats now. No refunds. I read what the writer said already. Mike A says the 80s and early 90s were a lot more violent than ever, even right now, but it seems like it's ramping up thanks to Soros-funded DAs and judges. Yeah. Okay. Wallace says Midtown, Ansley off Piedmont. That's what I thought. Yeah, it had a Midtown vibe. And for people that don't know about Atlanta, Midtown is like LGBT Central. That's LGBT Central. And it's like they got their own little culture in certain spots. Yeah, it's kind of a mess. All right, let me keep on going here. Thank you to, let me see, the writer who says LA has more people, less murder, crime than Atlanta, Memphis in 2023. Crime in LA is in certain areas. Atlanta, Memphis is dangerous all over. No, it's not. I mean, you're been to Atlanta. Atlanta is not dangerous all over. Atlanta, like if you go to Midtown, Buckhead, for the most part, it's not dangerous. It just depends on what you're doing and where you are. Like, you have random crime, but it's not the same as LA. LA, again, you don't have a skid row or anything like that. Downtown LA is unnavigable. It's unlivable. You don't want to be there at all. There's no place in Atlanta that's like that in the city. It's not, unless you're in the actual hood, off the beaten path, like the Bluff or somewhere like that. But downtown Atlanta, I mean, I was downtown Atlanta recently walking around that night by myself. I was walking to a hotel. I had bags. Like, it's not like that in Atlanta. It's like that in Los Angeles. It's not the same way. Memphis is a different story. It's not quite the same in Memphis either. Yeah, it's not. LA I hate. Again, people are leaving California not just because they can't afford it, but because the crime is getting out of control. Yeah, Atlanta is small, exactly, NKM. Atlanta is like 500,000 people. It's hard to compare Atlanta to Los Angeles. The size is completely different. I mean, LA County has 10 million people in LA County. And LA City has quite a few people. You probably about what, like 3 million people? It's a big city. You compare LA to New York or Chicago, not Atlanta or Nashville. It's kind of a dumb comparison. Hold on. Let me see if I can find the population of Los Angeles, not LA County specifically. So 3.8 million people in LA compared to 500,000 in Atlanta. Well, it's probably more than that in Atlanta now. Let me see if I can find it in Atlanta. Yeah. 496,000 people in Atlanta. Okay. Less than 500,000. What makes Atlanta big is metro area, which probably about 5 million or 6.1. So 6.1 million people in the Atlanta metro area compared to 10 million in LA County by itself. And then at a certain point, if you want to include the metro, when you include Orange County and stuff like that, I mean, come on, it's kind of not really comparable. Why are we talking about California versus, hey man, you know what? I'll put it to you like this. You know what? I don't know why I'm trying to actually defend Tennessee and Georgia. Look, if you think California is better than Tennessee, Georgia, Florida, stay over there. By all means, please stay over there. Stay there. If it's dangerous, you know what? I don't want you to be in a dangerous environment like that. I want you to be safe. I want you to be secure. So stay in California. You know what? Tennessee is very dangerous. Where I live at, I got to put on a bulletproof vest every night to go take my trash out. When I go downtown, it's 1 trillion people that are homeless, smoking crack, all on the sidewalks, harassing me, accosting me. Yeah, you're right. Tennessee sucks. Georgia sucks. California is great. California is beautiful. Gavin Newsom is the best thing since sliced bread. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Stay over there. Ain't even tripping. Think it's a dirty. I read that one. Shout out to you. Think it's a Monique Price who says, ABL, any big plans for the big 1 milli celebration stream? Also, can we get some members only content posts? Last question is ABL gaming dead forever? Well, thank you for your questions. ABL gaming might be dead forever. I might pop up on there occasionally. I want to do a different channel, but not the gaming channel. I don't have the time. That's all. Because the gaming channel took a lot of time. I don't have the time. Now, any plans for 1 million? I'm not sure. I may do a stream, a little celebration stream, perhaps. But I've not made plans for that because it's like I want to focus on just accomplishing the goal and then going beyond it. So I've not really, you know what I mean? But I do want to do something for that. Members only content, I think I will do that. But again, that takes a lot of time, which would be why I can't do the ABO gaming channel. That's all. But yeah, like I said, California is great. If you guys want to be there, then go for it. Thank you again, Monique. I appreciate that, Monique. Thank you to Dutch Schaefer, who says, I moved from Florida to Franklin, Tennessee last summer due to job relocation. There's a house for sale up the road from me. 1,200 square feet for $649,000. So 1,253 square feet for $649,000. Yeah, that's about right in Franklin. Absolutely. 100%. Franklin, Brentwood, all of that. You're talking about country stars, big money people, Californians. Yes. The writer says Atlanta, Memphis is more dangerous than LA. Stats don't lie. LA bigger too. LA has nicer looking women. In the South, they believe they're Democratic leaders. All right. I mean, like I said, man, California's great. You know, all hail Gavin Newsom, all hail Javier Becerra, all hail whoever the new mayor of LA is, all hail Garcon, the DA out there who just lets crackheads and whatnot do whatever they want to do. It's all good, man. Hey, lift it up. LA women, they might have a twig and berries, but they look better than the Southern women. Yeah, they might got twig and berries. You can't get them because you don't got no money. It's fine though. Stay in LA. I ain't tripping. Okay. They might smoke crack and do cocaine out there if you're a woman. You might got a twig and berries too between your legs, but it's totally fine. Hey, it's all good. And the schools are great. You got drag queens dancing for little kids at 5 years old in California and random little small towns, not just the big cities. But again, it's cool. I'm not even tripping. Enjoy California. I'm enjoying Tennessee, Georgia, having a good old time. You enjoy California. And don't be coming to my door talking about, hey, man, you want to sell your house? No, I don't actually. No, I don't. You go back to Compton and buy the same house for the same price and enjoy that. Thank you to Medical Seeds Canada, who gifted out 5 memberships. Thank you to Jen F, who says, curious to see how the baby situation started. You mean like the baby on the plane? The baby started crying, I suppose, or the one that was the basketball. I'm not sure. Thank you to Dutch Schaefer, who says the white people that died in the Civil War fighting for freedom for black people can make reparations. Thank you to Kaius Foshimus, who says ABL DeSantis is like 20% in Republican polling. I'm seeing that. It's going to be interesting to see how this whole thing plays out when it comes time for the primary. Very interesting. Thank you to Tam, who says, crazy inventions, those headphones and earbuds. Exactly. Thank you to Nick Corio, who says, hello, my dear friend, with the dear emoji. Thank you for that. Thank you to Life with Sean, who says, Biden has been in office so long, saw the potential impeachment of Nixon, the impeachment of Clinton and Trump, plus the withdrawal from Vietnam. He sure did. He sure did see all of that. That's not even an exaggeration or a lie. He saw all that good stuff. He was around when JFK got popped. Really? He was probably like in his 20s when JFK got popped, because he was 28 in 1972 or 3 as a first-term senator from Delaware. So a little bit of math. Let's say for math's sake, it was 74. And he was 28. So in 66, he would have been 18. Nah, pardon me. In 64, he would have been 18. So he was around and aware when JFK got popped. He's too old. Nancy Pelosi was at JFK's inauguration. Hold on, before I get to the calls, let's here's a picture of Nancy Pelosi at JFK's inauguration. Check it out. This is 1961. That's Nancy Pelosi right there at JFK's inauguration. My goodness. Please do something else. Yo, you're like 1961. So a little bit of math, quick math. That was, 55, 60 years ago? Nah, this was 62 years ago. 62 years ago, you were in off. Like, what are we doing? Whatever. You know what I mean? I guess you could live as long as you want to if you are a Democratic politician, just whatever. I don't know, man. I feel like there's got to be term limits or at least an age limit. Something got to give, man. You can't be in office that long, around the swamp that long. All right, time for the calls. The number to call, 434-658-1220. Again, 434-658-1220. Do not be afraid to call. It's all good. There's also an email for Skype in the description box. If you can't get on through Skype, don't blame me. Blame the white man. It's not my fault. All right, Matt, what's happening?
What's up, you jive turkey? Did you say that Don Lemon has a white husband?
Yes.
For real?
Yeah, for real. Or a long-term boyfriend. I think I read the husband.
Oh, my God. It's nothing sacred. Dude, I'm tired of our good white gay men being fetishized by black culture. That dude's been hitting me up. It explains so much. He's been hitting me up on Grindr.
Yeah.
I was thinking about, I wanted to point out something about that baby on the plane. There's another video where, where the guy was screaming at the flight attendant and the security guy. Well, what they didn't show you is that baby was flipping him off when everyone else's head was turned.
Oh, okay.
That he was flipping him off and he was doing this and round that guy up. So I'm on the guy's side on this totally.
There we go. It makes all sense in the world.
Yeah. Another thing, this idea that the Civil War was over slavery is a lot like the idea that the United States went into World War II to stop the Holocaust. And it's a lot like the idea that the book of Exodus was true in any way, shape, or form, and that the Jews built the pyramids. It's all patently false. People have been making up this we were slaves story, and we intervened for this noble reasons. It's all just made up. The Civil War, by and large, was basically anti-Catholic. If you look at all the propaganda leading in the Civil War, because you get thinking about it, there was slave-owning Southerners, slave-owning Northerners. The Fugitive Slave Act was still going on while the war was fighting. It was the one thing that both the North and the South agreed on. You turn over the escaped slaves, and we'll give you money for them. And that was still going on. And what was ironic about the secession was that they lost all their congressmen at that point, so they could have repealed the Fugitive Slave Act immediately after the South seceded and basically cut off all the trade. And I had read some stuff where probably a better way to end slavery would have been to put a tariff, because they couldn't have done that with the South being part of the nation. They could have put a tariff on slave pick cotton and subsidized wage pick cotton, with that tariff. So they could have used the market, and international commerce to end slavery, but they didn't. It was about preserving the Union. It was about getting rid of the Catholics and keeping the Pope's influence out of the South. That's exactly what it was about.
Very interesting.
Yeah, have you ever heard that?
I've not heard that one, but I did hear a story about the whole thing about the Slave Act, where they didn't want to. So West Virginia seceded from Virginia during the war.
Kept slaves.
Yep. And as a matter of fact, they had the Ohio troops come into West Virginia and say, hey, man, look, if any of your slaves escape, we're going to return them back to you. Don't worry about it. It's all good. Keep the slaves.
Yeah. You know what the number one cause of death of African-American was?
What's that?
Like through Civil War and Reconstruction was starvation. They died of starvation. There was a little over 4 million slaves in the United States prior to the Civil War. 1 million died in the fighting, and a little over 1 million died of starvation and disease, and just because basically in the same way. I mean, another example of all this romanticizing history is like, oh yeah, we invaded Libya because we wanted to liberate the people over there. There's slaves over there.
Yeah.
But there's still romanticized, I mean, you can see this, I'm not going to swear, this BS happening in real time, but don't listen to anybody making their own history, because everybody will write their own story the way they want. And it's all fake. And I wanted to leave you with this one. It's not Hunter Biden laptop. It's Hunter Biden laptops. They're the one that I've seen that's the most salacious, that it should convert anybody on the spot. And I almost think we should be all chained and forced to watch this. But it's a naked Hunter Biden and explaining to a prostitute that he had just slept with that the night prior, he passed out high, and his Russian drug dealer stole his laptop that had, quote, crazy illegal sex on it, and was holding him blackmail because of the laptop. And his prostitute at the time that he was explaining this to was saying, well, what do you mean? Why would they do that to you? And he said, quote, because I made $1 gajillion while my dad was vice president and he's running for office right now. The video is up there. The New York Post even took it down, but Daily Mail has it up, and I sent you a link, and I encourage people not to go right now to watch it, but for Anthony to kind of show it kind of straddles the edge of, and it's not suitable for work.
Right.
They got it all blurred out. So I've looked at parts of it, and to your own discretion. But to me, if there was so much said in that short amount of time, and it was all in context, the Russians have a laptop. They're holding it over his head. He made $1 gajillion, quote, a gajillion or gajillion. I can't remember what he said exactly. And that they're extorting him because his dad's running for president. That's incredible. And the way that the reason why these whistleblowers have to come forward, by the way, is they've found a new way to escape justice by being under perpetual investigation, fake investigation. So they say, well, we can't that St. Pierre, well, let me be perfectly clear. Well, let me be perfectly clear. I'm not going to say, well, it's a continuing investigation. It's a new plausible deniability is to actually be under some fake investigation. Hell, put me under investigation. IRS is going to ask for my tax returns, and I'm going to be like, well, I'm under investigation by the, Haagen-Dazs, talk to my lawyers. But that's all I got for you, man.
Thank you for the call, man. Appreciate you.
Be good.
All right, shout out to Matt for the call. Great call. Right on point. Yeah, a lot of things in history kind of get romanticized and told to fit a particular narrative. Yeah, the war being about slavery. The war being about slavery was a thing that I was kind of taught in school a little bit. And it spoke about states' rights and stuff like that. Mostly it was about slavery. But the thing that always kind of stuck in my mind is how both sides of the war had slaves. And West Virginia seceded during the war from the Confederacy to the Union with slaves. So if the Union was trying to end slavery, why did they allow a new state to get admitted with slaves during the war? And then when it came to the Union, they were told by existing Union soldiers that if your slaves escaped to Ohio, where we came from, where the soldiers came from, we're going to return them to you because we have an act on the books that says you can't have any slaves in the state that are fugitives. That was a thing. So, people talk about stuff and they don't really tell the full story. I'm all about just telling the full story. That's my thing. Let's continue here. 815 on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hi, this is Jacob.
Hello,
ABL?
I hear you now. Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I hear you well.
Good. I was just turning off you on the thing so we didn't have an echo.
Got you.
Yeah. Well, hey, ABL. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for taking my call. I will say I'm a little bit triggered by the last caller. The whole, I would say that recently I just celebrated Passover, Pesach. I'm a Jewish, and the history's made up, whatever. The Jews didn't build the pyramids, Israelites didn't. But he didn't offer any sort of a counterpoint. I'm assuming it must have been aliens who built it because aliens.
Hey man, I can't really speak on that. I don't know who did
it. Okay. So moving on, I'm just curious, and what was the last time you've been to LA?
It's been probably about a couple of years.
Yeah, because I haven't been there in a while, but if you haven't been there in a while, I was going to accuse you being like, you haven't been there in 10 years. So no.
It's been recently. It's like after the pandemic.
That didn't work.
Yeah, nah. Like LA, I didn't like it. I wasn't impressed. People, and I hear the same thing from other people. They say that if you go up in the nice areas, up in the hills, it's beautiful, but down on the ground floor, I wasn't impressed. It was ghetto. It was like Mexico a little bit. It was like, nah, I'm not really feeling it.
And I would suggest there's actually a YouTuber, and I would say he would be right leaning, conservative, but middle right leaning. But he's Californiate. But the YouTube channel is called, and I'm not affiliated. He doesn't know me. I don't know him. But it's called. His name is Nick Johnson, and I would suggest that because he actually films like he goes all around the country, and he has like all these videos about the best cities and the most liberal parts and the most conservative parts, and really shows you like on the ground footage. And I've been watching it like hours and hours, and I find it fascinating, and I think maybe other people will too. And there's he does show there's some conservative areas that are run down. But that's not the point of it. I'm just saying it's interesting. But he shows. I've seen a lot of California and Oregon. I mean Washington, and Anyway, I'm moving on. I'm from Chicago area actually, and I'm really disappointed about Brandon Johnson being elected. And what happened last weekend. And it's like, well, I guess like there's, you say like Georgia's not that bad, Atlanta's not that bad. I kind of feel the same way about Chicago, like, because it's like, all that bad stuff happens like in the South Side or West Side, Cabrini Green. I mean, the Cabrini Green doesn't exist anymore, but you really have to go to like bad neighborhoods, you know what I'm saying? But now, they're kind of bringing that ruckus to the Loop, which is like the main touristy area.
Right. That's what I was saying before, because a lot of people, they may vote a certain way because they think, oh, well, the crime's not really going to affect me. It's over there. I'm not affected by it. But then all of a sudden it's right in a nice area. You're going out for a nice dinner, not in the town, going shopping, expensive place, and you coming out, it's 100 of these teenagers ready to try to attack you, rob you, kill you, or whatever. It's like, hey, what's going on here? This is not supposed to be right here. This is the wrong place for this. See, but that's how it goes. It'll spread like that.
Yeah, I understand the hypocrisy, like, honestly, like, my mom, and she recently passed, I don't want to say anything bad about her, but, she lived in, Streeterville, which is a really nice area in Chicago, but, she thought I was crazy, but actually there's some MAGA people, because I would actually wear my, like, Make America Great Again there, and people would be like, yeah, but that was actually not too far from Jussie Smollett. But anyway, I guess but I guess my point was, I understand the hypocrisy. They vote these people in. You get what you vote for. But I do feel like, generally speaking, like the North Side and like certain areas voted for Vallis, and it was more like the South Side and the West Side. But anyway, okay, I'm moving on. There's like an event in Evanston next Thursday I was thinking about going to, but like you were kind of saying, like, don't get yourself in bad situations. Like, what are you really doing? Like, what are you going there for if you're trying to, like, but my point is there's like an anti-racism, unite against racism thing going on in Evanston on Thursday. And I don't know if you remember, I believe you did a video on it. Evanston was the neighborhood who did reparations.
Yeah, I saw that.
I was wondering if you should go.
Nah, I saw that story. I remember that, and it was kind of just really random because it's a pretty small place, isn't it, Evanston?
Yeah. I mean, not small, like small. It's suburb,
Yeah, it's not as big as Chicago. Obviously, it's like a Chicago suburb.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. All right. Well, I will get off the phone and let other people talk, but thank you for taking my phone call and have a good night.
Thank you for the call, man. Appreciate it. All right. Shout out to the caller. 860, you're the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, ABL. It's your old friend, longtime listener, longtime caller, F&A Ranger Xbox.
All right, man. What's going on?
Speakerphone off. Real quick, that couple that got attacked up in Chicago.
Yeah.
between 1970 and 73, that was my childhood when we moved from, my dad retired out of the Navy. We moved from Honolulu, Hawaii to the ghetto of Fort Wayne, Indiana in 1970. Race riots were going on. Joe Biden was in government. Nancy Pelosi was in government. That picture of Nancy Pelosi and JFK was taken when I was 1 year old.
Wow.
That's why people need to get involved with the Convention of States, to give the power back to the states and to take it away from them and enact term limits. Number one priority on that. Just thought I'd throw it out there. Public service announcement, if I may, sir.
Go for it.
Wimkin social media will set you free from Facebook jail. And I want to address the baby on the aircraft.
All right.
I am not a doctor, but I am a certified aircraft mechanic with a degree in aviation maintenance technologies, 4.0 from National Aviation Academy, Clearwater, Florida. An airliner flying at 36,000 feet is going to have a cabin pressure at the altitude of between 10,000 and 12,000 feet. You take a baby, they cannot regulate the pressure in their ears. So what I did with my children, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but my wife's Filipino, so since 2009, we're flying back almost every year for a month in the Philippines. We're going through China, Japan, Taiwan, to go to the Philippines. So, of course, my babies, and we would go up and my ears would be popping, and I'm not a doctor, but I am an aircraft mechanic, and I know what's going on. When your ears start popping and stuff, that's a differential pressure on different sides of your eardrum. Now, if you have a baby that's got an ear infection, do not fly. You run the risk of busting that baby's eardrums or a sinus cold. But if you take the two fingers and you just gently plunge the little flap over the baby's ears very gently, it will help the baby normalize the pressure on its eardrums, and it'll stop crying, give them some warm milk, they go to sleep, everybody's happy. So, I'll kid you not. So when I run into a crying baby on the airplane, I'll go back and say, excuse me, ma'am, I'm just happy it's not my time, because I know what that feels like. But here's what I did when my kid was doing that, and I'd explain it to him politely. And pretty soon, there's serenity, peace, and quiet on the airplane. But I got Q35 Bose.
There you go.
The noise canceling. But
exactly.
yeah, I wanted to throw that out about the babies on the airplane because that's what the issue is. The baby can't equalize its ear pressure, on either side of the eardrum, and it's hurting. It's in serious pain. That's why the baby's crying. So anyway, which brings me on to my next topic. What the Democrats have done to the black community and the white community following, since it was so successful in the black community, was remove the fear of consequence. Now, who was the person that you feared the consequence growing up, ABL?
Everybody, really, like my whole family, but definitely father.
Oh, yeah, definitely the dad. And you used to have fear of consequence in school when I went to school, because I went to school in 60s and 70s. And it was not uncommon for that Board of Education to be put on your backside. We learned about arithmetic, reading and writing, and we learned history, and we learned social studies. And I'm proud of America for the boycott they did against Anheuser-Busch. But I'd like to see it even more so enraged about the United Nations, and they're wanting to decriminalize pedophilia, because this is being done. If anybody was paying attention about 4 months ago, the elites, Klaus Schwab, said pedophilia is a gift. So, and that's one of the videos that Hunter Biden doesn't want to get out, is the Chinese blackmail video of him and a very little girl. You don't want to see that. It's on the dark net. If I can find it, anybody else can find it. It's disgusting. I found it by accident. I clicked off it immediately, but it was enough to make me vomit. Anyhow, I'll leave you with that. ABL, God bless. God bless America. Let's get our country back. Take care, buddy.
Thanks for the call, man. Appreciate you.
Bye.
All right. Shout out to the caller. Great calls. You guys have been a great audience tonight, as always. You know the drill. The number to call, 434-658-1220. Yeah, the Hunter Biden situation, the federales have been trying very hard to keep that under wraps. They've been trying their best. They've been doing their best to keep that under wraps, but at a certain point, I think that is going to come to an end. It can't really hold that back too much. They gotta kind of just let it go at a certain point. But we'll see how it all plays out. We shall see. All right, let me go ahead and just restart Skype right quick. No, I think we're good. Let's go to 480. You know, line how much speaker to.
Hey, this is Aaron Brooks from Arizona.
All righty, man. What's going on?
Not much. Hey, man, I called you about maybe a year ago. Been listening to your show for a long time, probably almost since you first began, and I listened to you on the Apple podcast at work, and I actually got a chance to catch you live tonight, man. And I just wanted to call and say I love your show.
Well, thank you for the call and support, man. I really appreciate it.
I got a question for you. So, I love all the regular callers. Shout out to the little Patriots and everything, and Les, and the retired Chicago police officer. And I noticed Tariq calls in occasionally, and I was wondering, does he have a YouTube channel?
I'm not really sure.
That guy is fire, man.
Yeah, he's really good. So if he's listening and he's now have a YouTube channel, he to go to get one started, because he's really, every time he calls in, he does great. So he would be a great content creator if he's not already.
When he calls in, man, he brings it every time, man. He brings it.
Absolutely.
It's like mic drop every time.
Right on point.
But yeah, man, Chicago police officer, FNA Ranger Xbox, everybody that calls in, even Ivan, I know you got to serve him up with some, sir, let me talk. But hey, man, shout out to him for at least calling in. I know you got to put him on mute occasionally, but at least he calls in, right, and watches the show.
Exactly, 100%.
All right, man. I'll let you go, man. Appreciate you taking my call, man.
Thanks for the call. Appreciate you.
All right, later, man.
All right, great call. 435 on the line. I'm speaking to.
Hey, ABL. My name is Mason. Wow, I didn't think I'd get through. This is crazy. How you doing?
Everything's all right, man. How about yourself?
I'm good. So I was just curious if you've ever done anything with the Chat GPT or anything experimented at all.
I've not actually. I've just seen it used on social media. I've seen reports about it, but I've not actually used it before myself.
Okay, interesting. Today, for the first time, I did it, and it was kind of interesting to see how the bias is so baked into it, I guess. And it was fun to kind of I would say, can you create a dialogue or a script between famous people like Alex Jones, and it would give some crazy their stereotype of the crazy conspiracy tone. And so that was interesting. But I did one particularly between him and George Washington, and they talked about the Second Amendment, and at the end it's kind of like George Washington was using today's talking points of the left. So that was kind of funny. So I don't know. I guess it's just crazy that that they are so blatant with it, and they're kind of aware of what's going on, but like they still try to hide it.
Oh yeah, they're pretty much out there, pretty blatant. They put their own biases in the actual software. They don't really hide it. I mean, it's not really, I would think that true AI would be kind of sentient. Like it wouldn't just be a programmed thing that gives you responses from the people that programmed it. It'd be able to kind of learn on its own. So I'm not quite sure if it's AI in the way that it could be. It's just kind of a weird thing.
Right. And can I give you just like two more examples real quick? I don't want to take up too much of your time.
Go for it.
Okay. So one of them asked if, or like how Jeffrey Epstein died. And it gave like the canned answer, like Jeffrey Epstein was found dead in his jail cell in August 2019 and all that. And another one I did was about Margaret Sanger. And, so it like acknowledged the controversy around her, but it also like says basically that she was like, she has this legacy of creating birth control. So yeah. And then also it admitted that Trudeau has confessed to blackface.
Very interesting.
Yeah. So I just wanted to say that, thanks for your time and hope you have a good night.
Thank you for the call, man. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Have a good one.
Good call. Yeah, I've not really used ChatGPT. I've seen people experiment with it and try little things, but I've not actually used it myself. Yeah. So that's real. Somebody says AI, not AGI. What is the difference? Y'all educate me on that. 908, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Oh, Anthony, I'm glad to catch you again, man. This is Alex. I've called before quite some time ago, but I'm glad to get you back on the line again. My major question is, when is the FBI going to release the manifesto of that Tennessee school shooter?
And you know what? That is an amazing question, but go ahead.
I think it's really under wraps, and I think if they ever do decide to release it, that it'll be heavily doctored with all the strong points redacted. I think it'll be entirely anti-Trump, anti-Republican, anti-Christian, anti-nuclear family. I think all of those points will be removed. And I think now that the FBI has been weaponized, towards the right, like I said, all those points are going to be removed, and or if it never even comes out, that's also a possibility. But I think it's just something to keep in rotation, as we go through these times, to not really forget about it, because it's going to reveal a lot of information. And again, I don't think it'll ever come out, but I just kind of wanted to put that out there.
Yeah, I mean,
and what your thoughts about it was.
Yeah, I'm kind of on the same page with you. I'm just kind of like, okay, where's the manifesto? Because with other shootings, we know a lot about the shooter pretty much right away. We know everything. We know who they were friends with in kindergarten. We know everything about them in a very short period of time. But now we have a full manifesto with actual things written and some breadcrumbs and evidence and whatnot, but we don't see anything from it. That's fishy at best.
Yep, I agree. Everything kind of went away really fast. We know more about the Pentagon leaker than we did that shooter, so it's a little concerning. And the trickle of information that's actually coming out with that person, so it's a little sketchy. And I just want everybody to try their best to keep it in rotation and bring light to it again, because if we don't bring attention to it, then it's just going to fade away in the background.
That's right.
But that's all I got, man. I appreciate your channel. I try to watch as many videos as I can, and keep up the good work, man.
Thank you for the call, man. Appreciate you.
Take it easy.
Yeah, I mean that's a good point, man. Where's the manifesto? 504 on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, ABL. It's Alien Spaceship.
Alrighty.
So I remember I want to comment on one of the things you showed about remember the black guy in Georgia?
You said what now?
The black guy in Georgia that was saying the white guy was racist.
Oh yeah.
Now, do you think he probably didn't have a father in the family?
I don't think so. I think that was all single mom speaking through him at that moment.
Right. And I think, what I've seen basically with them, and people like that is that they act really emotional, and and it's bizarre how they think something like turning the volume down is something racist. And I'm not a psychologist, but I do think, he's probably narcissistic too.
Yeah, that could be part of it.
Right. And also, I think, it's more of the stuff is coming out with the shootings, how, people are shooting over a basketball and stuff. And yeah, I think it's basically what Dr. Phil said, that people are having, the real on a tension, and then something triggers it. But I don't agree with him about calling the police thing, because it doesn't seem in our time they're doing what they maybe used to do. And I think that has to do with the Black Lives Matter riots. What do you think?
You say as far as the police?
Yeah.
I think,
yes.
I mean, the police, I think it's like two different issues, really. People just shooting over whatever because they have things going on, but the police can't really stop that from happening. They could be there afterward.
Right.
But also at the same time, I think as a separate issue, the police are kind of got their hands tied because of what's going on with BLM and stuff like that, for sure.
Yeah, because I totally agree. And as you said, and as we discussed, that the police are not someone's bodyguard, and the other things that are going on. And I really, I don't think we're going to, what I mean to say is I think there's going to probably be more of these incidences occurring with these silly gun issues where, people shooting over silly things. I don't think it's going to stop, because a lot of people have been paranoid from the stuff that's been happening the last few years. It's like you look at someone wrong and then someone gets shot.
Yeah, that's kind of how that goes. And it shouldn't be that way. It's really crazy out here in the streets.
Right. And also, yeah, I know the Civil War wasn't fought over slavery. It was something that was brought up later. I know, but I was aware of that. And I like studying about the Civil War. I think it's very interesting what Matt said. That does make sense, and I'll definitely look into that. And the Confederate flag, the one that we see, it's the battle flag. It's not Virginia, I believe. It's not the official Confederate flag. The official Confederate flag looks a lot like the American flag, but with like a circle on it.
Yeah, the Confederate flag that we see now was the battle flag of Northern Virginia specifically.
Okay, yes. And it's also, it's similar to the Scottish flag.
Yeah, because you're talking about the St. Andrew's Cross.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also, yeah, because I remember when I went to Kentucky to see my aunt and uncle, they had the Civil War Museum, and yeah, there is the Kentucky Orphan Brigade, and it's like a blue flag with a red cross with the stars on it. Because there's a blue version. There's all kinds of different Confederate flags. They're for the different states and different regions and battle brigades. And for some reason, I do like the one that's used mainly, but there's all kinds of different ones, and I do think they're very interesting.
Yeah.
Yes. And yeah, and I think, a lot of people are, using race for this and that, for these, different political agendas. And I do think, and I've talked to some of my other friends about this from the show, that the race stuff is a distraction from a lot of the food shortages and the financial and economic crises that are going on.
Well, the race thing is always going to be there. It's kind of hard to really, it's always going to be there. It's just a matter of, is it going to be exploited or not by the media? And that could be a distraction. Right. It could just be for whatever the reason may be.
Yeah. I think it's a variety of different things. Like, I think, like, people that were choosing in the Civil War, they were choosing sides. I think, people did the Civil War, like the individuals that were fighting for it, they probably, in my opinion, fought for various different reasons, probably. Like, everyone had their own different reasons for it.
Of course.
Right. And also, and I was studying some more about that bank that collapsed in California, and basically the people that had money in there, it was over the FDIC insurance limit, and that's one of the reasons why it will take a long time to get those people their money back.
Well, yeah, of course, that was the main thing. People were trying to get their money out at the last minute, but it was mostly corporations that had money in there, and people that were getting paid by corporations were not able to get their checks a lot of times. So, and then what happened was it set up a commission, the government did, and in effect they bypassed their own rule. The rule was, okay, the limit $250,000, but since so many corporations had money in there, they had to extend the rule.
Right. And yeah, that makes sense. And that's all I have to say for this call. Thank you for taking my call.
Thank you for the call, man. Appreciate you.
Okay, bye.
All right, shout out to the caller. Shout out to you guys as well. You guys are the best audience anywhere on these internets. The number to call is 434-658-1220. Again, 434-658-1220. Yeah, man, it's a whole big mess out here. Yeah, there's a lot of money in that bank. You said Gavin Newsom and family had money in their bank. A lot of your corporations had money in the bank. That's what really was going on. So what was going on is the corporations were trying to make payroll and they couldn't because the money was tied up in the bank. 559 on the line. Who am I speaking to?
ABL, Patrick from California. How's it going?
Everything's all right. How about yourself?
Hey, good, man. Long time no talk. How you been?
Oh, man, I can't complain at all. Everything's been smooth.
That's awesome, man. That's great to hear. So, what do you think about Elder announcing his run for presidency?
I think that it's going to be good that he gets his name out there more than what it already is. I like Larry Elder, of course. Met him a few times. Good person. I still think the race is between Trump and DeSantis, but I like Larry Elder putting his name out there.
Yeah, it's going to make it interesting now that we have Kennedy and an Elder, and then we got DeSantis and Trump, but then there's also Gavin Newsom in the mix. I think this is going to be a race and a presidential run unlike which we have not seen for quite a long time. I think it's going to be very, very competitive in the slot.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's interesting because I was watching Dinesh D'Souza the other day, and he's saying that he's uncovered information that Antifa is actually being funded through our tax money. Were you aware of that?
I was not aware about that, but I'm not surprised.
Yeah. Unlike BLM, which is all privately funded, and then they, go buy these mansions and things like that, Antifa is actually funded through our state, local, and federal taxes. From what he was saying, I guess it gets trickled down through the pipeline and then dispersed at like the very bottom level, local levels, from the government at that point to Antifa. Within their chapters or whatever, they have. I'm not sure because it's quote unquote an unofficial organization. They, supposedly based off of what Nadler said, they don't exist. I think it's interesting to poll still with Trump being almost 50%. Now, if he goes to 60%, does he automatically become the nominee? Is that how that works?
I'm not exactly sure. I think it's whoever wins the actual election because you vote in the primary. So right now, what's happening is you have polls. The polls are just, guessing what the people are going to do when it comes time for the election. But then you have the primary election. People vote actually you could actually vote like a regular presidency. Go out there and vote, and whoever wins that election through the actual votes that people count that cast, then that person wins the nomination.
That's right. I've done it quite a few times in my life. I'm 32, and it seems like every time it just feels like a refresh, brand new thing to me because it's kind of exciting. Who's gonna be the main contender here against the Democrats? And how do you feel that we fare up against them, by the way, at this point?
I think that we're going to do pretty good against them because the country, it could be better. You know, there's a lot of stuff going on. We got financial difficulties. We got wars brewing. So I think that the nation is ready for a different leader. And Joe Biden is pretty much a husk walking around. So I think that we have a pretty good chance of being able to do something against the Democrats this time.
Right. Yeah, I agree. You know, I think it's very interesting yet disingenuous of the Wall Street Journal to post that Biden was actually in the lead above Trump and everybody else in the polls. I mean, you know, it seems like at this point, the man, he can't even, you know, take care of his own personal self and cannot even live a daily life without, you know, being helped or guided, things of that nature. How in the world can people, you know, possibly be voting for him more than any other candidate, including Gavin Newsom, including whatever Democrat, like, you know, Kennedy running as a Democrat, anybody else that's, you know, in the race right now? It just seems crazy to me.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So, you know, I'm still voting for Trump. I really do hope that people, in the end, you know, when it comes down to it, vote for him also, personally, because, you know, he's so strong on the border. He's so strong on crime. He's so strong on everything else that makes this country great, in my personal opinion. And he already has my vote for this race. I'm curious about who his VP candidate would be. Do you have like any sort of insider information, or do you have a possible clue who it might be?
I don't. I have no idea. It could be anybody, really. My suggestion, well, not my suggestion, my thought process is that he'll have somebody that's not gonna outshine him or try to battle for the spotlight. Mm-hmm. Like some said, he would have DeSantis. That's kind of foolish because they're kind of like the same person. That'd just be too much on one thing. He would have like another Mike Pence type person, somebody that could just kind of be cool, be the straight man. Like in the comedy routine, you had a straight man and the funny man. It'd be the same thing with him.
Right. Yeah, you know, I was talking to some people here locally in California, and they were kind of interested in a poll ticket with him, but you know, then other people were saying that, you know, if Vivek bottoms out, then he would actually be a pretty good candidate as well. It's just interesting to see how it all plays out. But anyway, hey, ABL, I appreciate you taking my call, and always great conversation. And you take care, sir.
Thank you for the call. Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, man. I want to see how the whole thing plays out with Trump, and if he's getting nomination, who's going to be the running mate, or even better yet, DeSantis, if he gets nomination, who will be his running mate? I like to see the entire thing play out to really get down to the bottom of what's going on here. I'm very, very, very interested. Matt Gaetz, vice president, I think not. Too much baggage. Shout out to Matt Gaetz. You know, nothing against Matt Gaetz. No shots. But, I mean, come on. You got to have a guy that's just, like I said, the straight man. The guy that's just, you know, a blank slate, really. Maybe even a Glenn Youngkin, if Glenn Youngkin was not so much of a guy that was opposed to Trump. I don't think Youngkin is an anti-Trumper, but I think he's just the opposite. Too much opposite. I think that he was able to win because he was opposite. So for him to go and then run with Trump as running mate wouldn't make any sense. And I think that he wants to be the governor of Virginia and continue to do that for a while. But the thing about Virginia, if you guys didn't know, you cannot run back-to-back gubernatorial campaigns. You could be the governor again, but you can't run back-to-back. So you can only be the governor one. You can't be the incumbent governor in Virginia, basically. This is why Terry McAuliffe came back and ran as a governor after he was not the governor for at least one term. You could do that, but you can't be back-to-back. You can't be the incumbent. So either way it goes, he has to do something else other than be the governor of Virginia after this. So we'll see how the whole thing goes. 773 online, who am I speaking to?
ABL, it's your retired Chicago police officer friend. I hope you can hear me okay.
I hear you.
Quickly, ABL, I just wanted to mention if you saw about the carjacking and those juveniles that hit that car, went through a red light in a stolen car, hit a mother and her family and her 3 kids, and killed the 6-month-old baby. Did you see that story, ABL?
I didn't see it.
So, I suggest you take a look at it and everybody else takes a look at it. So what happened was that these juveniles, 4 juveniles, stole a car, went through a red light, it's on camera, were going at a super high rate of speed. The mother with her 3 kids in a pickup truck went through the green light like she should, and they plowed into, the juveniles plowed into her vehicle. They all went to the hospital. The 6-month-old got a brain hemorrhage. His brain swelled and he passed away. And Kim Fox charged them they only caught 2 of the 4 and charged the 2 that they caught, a 17-year-old and I think a 15-year-old or 14-year-old, and charged them with misdemeanor with criminal trespass the vehicle, and that's it. That's it. Not murder and, felony murder. Nope. Not even manslaughter. Just charged the 2 kids with criminal trespass the vehicle. They were in a stolen car. It's ridiculous. It's really upsetting, ABL, because nobody can get justice in these cities. And it's a shame. You should take a look at the video on that one, ABL. I mean, are you kidding me? They stole a car and killed a 6-month-old kid, and they are only charged with misdemeanor criminal trespass. When I'm in a squad car and I pulled over a car that was stolen, that's what we charge the passengers with. So they haven't found the other 2 people. When I was a kid and I was 15, 16, 17 years old driving around with my friends, I knew all of my friends' names. I knew who I was in the car with. They should be charged with, felony murder, because I believe that I'm sure her little speech is going to be that she charged them with criminal trespass because they were passengers in the vehicle and not the driver. Well, you all decided to get into a stolen car and drive at breakneck speeds through a red traffic light, and you killed somebody. And for a state's attorney to take arms with them is ridiculous. So this baby's dead. Nobody's, really got a case on them or anything. It's sickening. And it's sickening of the new mayor that's coming in too. I mean, I don't know what to say about that, ABL. I'm a little dumbfounded that people aren't up in arms. But you know what? Conservatives like ourselves, we don't go out there and protest and, make such a big ruckus and light stuff on fire and break windows to get attention. And this is how we're repaid in our city is, 6-month-old baby killed from a guy driving a stolen car for youths. Just because they're juveniles, they get a pass. I mean, criminal trespass, and that's it. It's ridiculous, ABL. That's all I wanted to say today. Thanks for taking my call. I'll talk to you later.
Thanks for the call. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
That's rough. Now you see why officers will get demoralized, because you see stuff like that. Okay, you get these teenagers and carjacked somebody or stole a car, whatever it is, go running in it, and then kill a baby, and then misdemeanors, no, nothing else. It's like, well, what are we doing out here? what's the purpose of us being out here trying to fight crime when they won't actually help us fight the crime? We can't just do this on our own. There's got to be some cooperation here. And when you don't get that, it's like, well, what are we doing? What's the purpose of us being out here trying to fight the crime? So when stuff is going on, it's like, hey man, I can't help you with that. What am I to do to help you with that? When these kids are gonna just be right back out here the next day doing the exact same thing, what can I do to help you? It's crazy. It is totally crazy. But that will be a wrap for me. You guys have been a fantastic audience as always. If you like tonight's show, please give the video a thumbs up, like the video, share the video, do all of that good stuff. That'll help me out tremendously. This is a podcast you're listening to right now. It'll be available on your favorite audio streaming platforms, whether it be Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, Anchor, Apple, iTunes, etc. Link for that will be in the description. Or go to your favorite audio streaming platform and search ABL Live. I should pop right on up. Thank you for being here yet again. You guys are the best audience anywhere on the internet. Shout out to the mods for doing what you do, keeping the trolls nice in the check. Thank you to everybody that's been watching, retweeting, super chatting, whatever you're doing. I could not do the show without you. So thank you for being here and doing what you do. I got super chats to read right quick. Then I wrap it on up, put the bowl clean on top. Let's see here. Thank you to Tam for gifting out 10 ABO memberships. I appreciate you, Tam. Thank you to Matthew who says, love you, everyone. Thank you to F Ranger Xbox who says, first episode, TV show, Sledgehammer, Snowflakes with Vaporize. Watch it. Thank you to Jaguar Really who says, best conversation on YouTube. Thank you. Thank you for your support, boss. Appreciate you. But that will be a wrap for me. So until next time, y'all be safe. I'm out. And peace.